Hello everyone, and welcome to the InnoWise Scale Agriculture Competition. Today we mark the culmination of the Water Scarcity Program promoted by the European Institute of Technology, who launched it last June. My name is Patricia Carbonell, and I'm pleased to be your host today. I'm Communications Manager at Revolve, and it's a communication agency established in Brussels, Barcelona, and Vienna that fosters cultures of sustainability through two main activities. On the one hand, we have an editorial line, a quarterly magazine, exploring innovations in the management of natural ecosystems, energy, mobility, and water. And on the other, we support international initiatives like this one, EU-funded projects, events, campaigns to increase their impact through our expertise in strategic communications. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. I would like to introduce my colleagues Marta and Martina, also from Revolve, who are also supporting the organization of this event. The topic that brought us today is water. Water is a precondition of life on Earth and essential to all sustainable socioeconomic development, food security, and healthy ecosystems. The growing population, the demographic changes, massive urbanization trends, and climate change, among other factors, are increasing pressure over the availability of water resources. And that's why today we will hear from startups and their innovative solutions that can tackle these challenges. So before we begin, I would like to just remark a few important points. We are live right now on social media. You can find us on Revolve LinkedIn channel, on Twitter, and you can use the hashtag InnoWise Scale, and also on YouTube, okay? Please follow us and make sure that you can comment, ask any questions that we can address to the speakers during the presentations that we will have today. This is a very great opportunity to showcase your ideas, your work, and so feel free to tweet about taking part of these competitions for you, the startups, and also as a public to feel free to address any comments or questions that you might have. Thank you so much. So let me give the floor to Carmen Galindo and Elvira Domingo from EIT Food to give you an overview of what the program is about, why we are here today, and how we can transform food systems.
Thank you very much, Patricia. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here. It's Monday morning, very early, so I hope you enjoy. I hope you enjoy the day and the agenda. We have a very interesting speakers coming to enlighten us in what's going on and what is being done. If you don't mind, I'm gonna share my screen a little bit. So just for a while to explain you a little bit what are we doing in the water scarcity program and specifically in the InnoWise Scale. And after that, I will give the floor to Elvira so you have a better overview of what we do at the EIT Food. Do you want to say good morning, Elvira, before we go to the details?
Thank you, Carmen. Good morning, everyone. I can't not think on any better way of starting the Monday than being with us. So thank you. It's really inspiring, and I hope that you enjoy the day and that you are lucky so we can all transform the agri-food system.
Thank you. Give me just 1 second. There we are. Now you can see, right? Okay, so just to start, I would like to start with explaining what is the InnoWise Scale activities. Is what brought us together here today. So the InnoWise Scale activities are shaped to support innovative entrepreneurs working on water-related technologies to foster climate change readiness in Europe, and especially in Southern Europe. It's the final goal of the InnoWise Scale activities is to accelerate the market uptake of these kind of solutions in Europe. And we are here today to listen to the challenges specifically, as Patricia said before, the challenges on the agricultural sector. For that, we've put together a set of entrepreneurs with a network of mentors and trainers, as well as potential end users for different sectors with whom they can test their solutions. Today, the InnoWise Scale activity competition is on water use in agriculture. We have, after 3 months of mentoring, training, and networking opportunities, we have today 8 solution providers that will be participating to solve the specific challenges that Sanluca has. Sanluca is a Spanish company based in Valencia, working in fruit production and vegetable production all around Europe. And today is represented by Fernando Bañón. He will be enlightening us later today on what their challenges are. Winners of the competition will be granted with 10 and 12,000 euros in cash prizes to engage with end user to enlarge and scale up their businesses. But finally, also, there will be a special prize of 30,000 euros for testing purposes. And that will be, the winner of this prize will be able to test their solution with Sanluca later next year. I would like to give a special thank you to the mentors of the companies that are presenting today. So Sara Giordani, Antonio Tourinho, Paulina Janiak, Georgios sorry, but it's difficult for me to pronounce your name, Caracastanis, Jose Antonio Rodríguez de la Cruz, Andrea Cruciani, Paolo Di Stefanis, and Giorgio Susiu. Thank you for your contribution to the program and to support these companies during the last 3 months. This, as Patricia mentioned before, this is the final competition after 2 other competitions on water management in utilities and larger infrastructures in Southern Europe that were taking place last week. So we already have the winners and for those competitions. And I wanted to share with you the names. So Phipps Senscheib, Engine, Bluefash, and Watergate. Finally, just to have a clear view, the water scarcity, the InnoWise Scale activities are framed within the water scarcity program that have additional activities. So InnoWise Scale are focusing on supporting entrepreneurs, but we also collaborate with a group of experts that work together to create knowledge and support innovations through bringing together a set of recommendations, challenges, and financial opportunities for the companies. We also have we also work on building capabilities for the industry through the water academies that will be taking place later this month and early November, on the 27th, the 2nd of November, and the 3rd of November. And finally, we do create content to build and to engage with citizens and create awareness on water scarcity and how it affects our daily lives. Behind the scenes, we are at several entities collaborating in this project because we understand water scarcity and tackling water scarcity is a cross-sectorial challenge. So it's EIT Food as project coordinator, but we also collaborate with Climate Kick, with Digital and EIT Manufacturing, and with 2 entities, Biazul and Athena Research Center from Spain and Greece. And we do this because water is a human right, but as I've mentioned, I would like to remark that this is one of the projects we participate, and I would like Elvira to explain a little bit more of what we do at EIT Food, and I cannot see, there is it. So thank you, Elvira. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Carmen. Let me just share my screen as well. Okay. Can you see it now?
Now, yes.
Oh, okay.
No.
That's strange. Let me see.
but we could see it early. So you need to...
Oh, that's strange.
Click in share and then in the window and then accept.
Yeah, but it doesn't... no, it is. Can you see it?
Yes.
Brilliant. Okay, so again, thank you very much, because it's Monday. I know that our agendas are full of many interesting things, so I really appreciate that you are all with us today. EIT food. Well, first I will go into EIT. As you know, EIT is built by several communities, each of them addressing different societal challenges, which means actually that there are lots of things to improve in our society. This is one of them, the water scarcity program, in which several KICs community of innovation are collaborating to actually put some solutions and develop some innovative products and services and bring them into market, so that we can become one of the leading innovation regions in the world, together with the US or Japan, instead of being at the tail of it, as it has happened in the past few years. How do we do that? We do train entrepreneurs, we support and power up startups and scale-ups and SMEs as well. And as I was saying, we develop innovative products and services, and we make sure that they reach the market, and they are not behind in the research side or the scientific part of them. At EIT Food, as you can imagine, we have some specific challenges, among them societal. We have to remember that in 2050, we will be more than 10 billion people on the planet that we need to feed, and that if we keep doing what we are doing at the moment, we will not succeed on that. On the other hand, our nutritional habits are completely distorted. We have 2 billion people overweight, while 800 million people go hungry to bed every day. So again, these are things that we need to address on the agri-food system, but also environmental. I don't have to tell you, on the water scarcity sector, that the agriculture and the food production is one of the things that consume a lot of water resources, and the management and a good efficiency on the management of water is absolutely key, essential, crucial to do things better. We also are responsible for the production of a high percentage of greenhouse emissions, and we are throwing away 30% of the food that we produce. So this, together with the low ratio of success of the startups across Europe, but also with the few number of startups on the agri-food sector, are making us to put in place a lot of different activities, programs, and initiatives that are trying to address these challenges, or even problems, that I would say in some cases. Okay. Oops, this is going too fast now. Okay. Now. So, as I was saying at the beginning, what is our mission? Our vision, transforming fully the agri-food system and make sure that we can access and enjoy sustainable food that is safe, that is healthier, and which is more important, in which we can trust, and that it comes from farm to fork directly to us, the consumers. What is our role then? Putting all the players, the relevant ones, together, so that we can address all these challenges. How are we doing that? We have established 5 offices across Europe. Our headquarters are based in Belgium, but we also have 2 offices here in Spain, 1 in Poland, 1 in Germany, and another one in the UK. Together with this, we work with 17 organizations across Central, Eastern, and Southern Europe, which help us to not only spread the message, but also to engage participants in our communities and to develop relevant activities and relevant programs from EIT Food and also other communities. So, as I was saying, we are putting together all the partners. We are establishing the links between them that are needed to develop new products and services. And for this, what do we need? We have industrial partners, we have research centers. We have research centers, and we also have startups. Startups are really, really important for us. We do know that the innovation falls behind them, and we have created an association which is called Rising for the Stars, that I hope that some of the startups that are joining us today join in the future. Through this association, you can play together with other partners at EIT Food, research partners, universities, industry partners, and make sure that your products, your services reach the market in a successful way. So now that we have all the players, the strategic ones, together, we have established several objectives, 6, which are, as I was saying, addressing consumer trust, building a consumer-centric food system, educating, but also catalyzing entrepreneurship that is really, really low on the agri-food sector. Creating a consumer value food, and enhancing sustainability. And where are we doing these 6 objectives? Across 6 focus areas that we have defined, which are alternative proteins, sustainable agriculture, sustainable aquaculture as well. And I'm not forgetting Kathleen. Kathleen is also part of the sustainable agriculture activities. Targeted nutrition, digital traceability, and circular food systems. All the activities we do are focused to address these challenges, or addressing new solutions into these challenges. Of course, we are in the food system, and we need to take into account the consumer, which is absolutely important, because they address not only the current demands, but also the future ones. And of course, digital transformation on the agri-food system is transversal, and it's involved in all the activities that we are currently doing. Also, the agri-food sector has been very traditional. It's especially slow in incorporating new technology, and of course, digital transformation is really something embedded in every activity. Just to give you a small overview of some of the activities that we are doing, we have 4 areas: entrepreneurship, education, innovation, and public engagement. As I was saying, consumer is the center of all of our activities, but we have specific activities for each of these areas, and every entrepreneurship activity has parts of innovation. All the innovation activities we do contain bits of education, and in education, and all of them, education, innovation, entrepreneurship, they all have part of outreach, communication, and public engagement, so that we can make sure that everything we do reaches the consumers. As well, you have seen that in the water scarcity program. So here, these are a few names for the programs that we are leading, but there are plenty of others that I will not, I don't have, unfortunately, the time to go in deep today. Together with these activities, as you know, we have a big focus on startups, and we are doing programs so that we make sure that we support them, that we are together with the startups from the beginning to when they are a big company, full constituted SME. So we have activities for those that only have an idea, like the Challenge Lab, the Jump Starter, or Team Up, where we put together entrepreneurs, researchers with people that have more the business development side or mindset. We also have specific activities for women entrepreneurs, and we also have the Trust Fund program, for example, in which we put together farmers with entrepreneurs, so they both can benefit of the new solutions. We also have some flagship programs like Seedbed, Fund, or Rising for the Stars, which are our incubator, accelerator, and the association for startups that I was mentioning before. The water scarcity program, I don't have to say about it. And with this, I will not go more in deep into the activities we do, just so you know that in each of the countries across Europe, we have specific programs that you can find opportunities for each of them in our website. That I'm always here if you have any question about our programs, about how you can get engaged or how you can participate in our activities. Please just drop me an email and I will be happy to support you. And that's all. Join us in transforming the agri-food system, and wishing you all the luck for today and for the success of your businesses. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carmen and Elvira. It's always great to hear what agri-food is happening, the areas that you are covering, and understand how the community is actually growing. So we have an exciting agenda for you today. So thank you, and we would like to to continue with the next session. We will have an interview with Fernando Bayón, a production director at Sanluca, and it's the problem holder of the InnoWise Scale Agriculture Competition. So without more hesitation, I would like to move into the next session. Hello, Fernando. How are you?
Good morning, Patricia. I'm doing very good. What about you?
Very good. As an introduction, I would like to introduce you and Sanluca. Sanluca is an international company it's based in Spain, producing and supplying fruits and vegetables all around the world. Fernando is the problem holder of the competition, and he has extensive experience in operations, strategy, and finance in agribusiness, which is very inspiring for the startups. And well, today I would like to ask you a few questions to understand a bit more how you are operating and to understand the success of the organization. So let's start with Sanluca. Tell us a little bit more, no? And how is Sanluca tackling water scarcity, since it's the topic of today?
Well, we have many ways that with which we are tackling water scarcity. Water is very much important for us because it's let's say number one parameter for production. We are developing different solutions in our different orchards in order, let's say, to be more efficient in water consumption. Let's say, for example, we are using hardware solutions. We are using sensors in the plantations in order to, let's say, to know what is the percentage of humidity that the plants have available. And with this, we are able of, let's say, planifying better irrigation and let's say, reduce the water consumption. Apart from these, we are also, for example, using water from rainfall in our orchards in Tunisia, and also we are reusing the water from the drainage of the irrigation, which allow us to, let's say, to make the most out of the water that we consume. And well, apart from these direct actions, we are also working a lot on agronomical management. We are working on vegetable covers. We're working on mulching in order, let's say, to preserve the water on the ground, in order to avoid the water to evaporate without being consumed by the plants. So these are some of the actions that we are doing in order to be more efficient in our water consumption.
Thank you. And do you have any more precise strategy for this efficient water management?
We are working in many different lines. From one side, we are working on research and development. Many times, let's say, there is no specific solutions for some of the challenges that we have. So let's say we're collaborating with different startups, like this is the case for InnoWise Scale program. Let's say in order to develop the technology, but on the other side, we are working a lot with existing technology, with sensor technology, and let's say with satellite imagery in order to understand how we can better manage the water use.
Fantastic. I remember you mentioned that you are actually trying to reduce CO2 with some of the strategies, maybe in Tunis, right? You have some examples of that. Can you tell us a bit more about some of these examples that are contributing towards the kind of, reducing emissions and trying to be more climate smart, to contribute to a climate smart agriculture?
Yeah. Yes, well, in terms of this CO2, we can say that we have the less let's say the cleanest orchard the cleanest tomato production orchard. We are using, let's say, hot water from the ground in order to heat our greenhouses in Tunisia, and this makes us to have the lowest carbon footprint in the market, which is amazing. But in terms of let's say climate smart agriculture, as I was telling you, we're investing a lot in research and development, not only for water but also for energy use and for other inputs use. We are let's say investing a lot, developing technologies, and let's say using the existing technologies that are in the market.
Good. So I would like to understand how Sanluca actually sees water management, the horizon, in the next 10 years. How do you think that food systems are going to be transformed?
Well, if you see in this InnoWise Scale program, we could see a very interesting presentation at the beginning where we could see the impact of climate change in Europe, and most specifically in the Mediterranean area. And you can see that all Mediterranean countries, together with Greece, Italy, Spain, and other countries, we are going to suffer, and we are suffering more than others of this, let's say, climate uncertainty. So let's say if we project ourselves in 10 years, what we know is that we have to be ready for these changes that are already coming. We have to be resilient. We have to, let's say, to know that these changes are coming, are already here, and that we have to be, let's say, early to provide responses and to produce in the same way or better than we are doing today. What we want with programs like this of InnoWise Scale and other programs as well that we are developing is to spread the solutions that we develop with our partners, let's say all around our orchards in Spain, but also abroad. And we want to share this knowledge with, let's say, our fellow growers in the Murcia region. Murcia region is especially touched by this, and let's say this knowledge is especially important for them. So let's say, in few words, we want to spread these results of research and development throughout our orchards in order to be much more sustainable in our water management.
Thank you. And do you think that we are still facing a technological gap to be able to tackle water scarcity, or other factors are influencing the advance of this?
So what I think is that there is already, I mean, we have gone a long way. If you compare ourselves with 10 years ago, we have gone a long way, and we are using already a lot of technologies that were not used 10 years ago. For example, NDVI technology, satellite imagery. For example, sensors are widely used almost all over our plantations, but let's say other growers are using them. And in general, growers are much more open to technology, to use technology to, let's say, in a daily basis in order to provide better responses to their daily work. However, still there are, let's say, as you are saying, technological gaps. I can say, for example, to prevent the leakages in the irrigation systems, still there we have, let's say, an important work to be done. And also we have to be more precise on, let's say, on the water that we give to each plant. We have to be able in the mid-run to provide each plant what it needs, not more, not less, in order, let's say, to be more efficient, in order to spend less water, and in order to develop the potential of the plants at its best. So in this regard, I think still there is a gap. I think still we have to invest for this research and development. And let's say we have to inform consumers that, let's say, in order to tackle these challenges of the future, we growers, we are investing in doing better the things. And yeah, and it is important then to know, that we are doing these advancements. So yes, there has been lots of things that have been done. Yes, we have gone a long way. But still, yeah, there is a lot of challenges, there is a lot of work to be done, and that is what excites us, and that what motivates us to keep on working and to do lots of ordinary and crazy things. So yeah.
Thank you, Fernando. I think this has enabled us to set the scene a little bit more, to give an overview of what is happening and how Sanluca is addressing this. So thank you so much. I don't want to go more in deep because we have a long session today with the startups providing some of the solutions that will be addressing these challenges that we described today here. And it's good to hear that you are investing so much time, effort, and development in the sustainable and innovation unit at Sanluca. I think this should be something to be replicated across all business models these days, and not only to look at the environmental kind of side of things, but also to the entrepreneurship one, and also to the social one, which I know that you are also tackling, trying to cover the more holistic perspective so we can advance more sustainable towards that. So thank you, Fernando.
Thanks to you. It's such an honor to be here. Such an honor to have been able to work with the IT team and with the Revolve team, great professionals, and an incredible opportunity to work and to collaborate with the 8 different technology providers, the 8 different startups with whom we have been able to have lots of meetings to discuss a lot about the challenges. And let's say to develop a lot of long-term relationships to tackle these challenges. So thanks a lot, and very much willing to discover today's agenda.
Thank you. We will see you again later on at the award ceremony, and thank you, Fernando. We will gonna continue with Luciano Mateos. He's researcher at the Institute of Sustainable Agriculture at CSIC. Hello, Luciano. How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Patricia, thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you here. And let's continue with your keynote presentation on innovations in the agri-food sector to cope with water scarcity. Just to give an introduction to Luciano, his main topics of expertise are around irrigation, engineering, and hydrology, as well as management and conservation of water and soil. So we will be going more into this direction now. So take the floor, Luciano, when you want.
Thank you. I'm going. Am I sharing my screen now? Okay. Good morning. Thank you for the invitation to this exciting event, InnoWise 2021. My talk will deal with these 2 key concepts, innovation and coping with water scarcity. Going directly to the subject, there are 2 main strategies for coping with water scarcity. One is reducing demand, and the other is increasing supply. First, we can reduce demand by reducing production, but that's something that we don't want. I mean, we are too many people in the world. We have to feed a growing population, so we cannot afford a reduction in production. We might be interested in maybe moving production from areas where water scarcity is acute to areas where there is still availability of water, and that is happening in Mediterranean countries. We can also change habits. We can encourage people to consume products that are less water eager, or at least to consume products that have been produced sustainably. And for this purpose, the label and certification of products in the market, guaranteeing that they have produced in a sustainable way, has been an innovation, a successful innovation that is, of course, still under development. Third, we can reduce demand by increasing efficiency and productivity. And I guess this is what we are going to listen today. Smart irrigation is one of the innovation processes, and that has been already introduced, and I am sure in the competition we will listen about more solutions related to smart irrigation. I will talk a little bit about a specific experience on smart irrigation to describe a specific innovation process, but that will come next, because first I want to go quickly through the second strategy to cope with water scarcity, which is increasing supply. The conventional ways of increasing supply were building dams, transferring water from basin to basin, virtual water trade. Socially and environmentally, this means to increase water supply are not relevant anymore, or are not acceptable anymore, at least in the intensity that were before. So now we are focusing, and innovation is focusing on water treatment in the context of the circular economy, recycling, and desalinizing water, and this is a true increase in the water supply. Water markets are a singular way of redistributing water and guaranteeing the supply. I believe this is a field open to innovation and with many ideas to be developed or to create. Finally, I want to mention nature-based solutions. This is something that the European Commission is promoting, and it defines it as solutions that are inspired and supported by nature, which are cost-effective, simultaneously provide environmental, social, and economic benefits, and help build resilience. These kind of solutions require intensive knowledge and innovation. And if I have time at the end of my presentation, I will give an example of nature-based solution to cope with water scarcity. But let's start with increasing efficiency and productivity. And let's do that through the different scales of water management, starting at the basin scale. What you see on the screen is just a screenshot of the application that the Guadalquivir Basin Authority has developed for water monitoring as information system, and it is used for water accounting, which is the basic tool for water planning, and hopefully one day this will be also a supervisory control and automation system for water management at the basin scale. But I believe still intensive knowledge and innovation has to be developed in order to get to that point. So let me go to the next scale, which is the irrigation district scale, typically managed by water user associations. And here we can talk about the modernization process, the modernization causal loop. Some years ago, the goal was increasing the water service, the water delivery service, by enhancing the flexibility and the reliability of the collective networks. The idea was to increase efficiency, but also the irrigation schedules that allow adequate water application to the crops at the right time, in the right quantity. So the final result of all this process should be higher productivity, land productivity, and water productivity. So this was the goal, and this is what we call mission-oriented innovation. And we can say that we were really successful. Now the water users associations are managed, or they manage their irrigation districts using modern SCADA that allow on-demand irrigation, highly efficient, automized irrigation, responding to the needs of the farmers and to the needs of the crops. And more, they are introducing in their daily tasks information coming from sensors, from satellites, information that is used to enhance the management and the quality of the service that they provide. So this mission-oriented innovation was what I call the first wave in the modernization process, but a second wave of radical innovation is coming with the introduction of solar pumping, a solution to the increase of the energy cost consequence of the first modernization. And this is what we call anticipatory innovation. At the farmer scale, we see irrigation in the farmers' 5th generation as a set of ground or airborne sensors detecting water needs in the soil and plants and actuating valves automatically that in turn control pumping at the water supply. The system includes all the ingredients like Internet of Things, information and communication technology, artificial intelligence, and the result should be a more efficient and productive farming. So this is what I call enhancement-oriented innovation. However, the innovation process can be very different in the different situations and even unexpected. I am going to give a narrative of my own experience in the innovation process related to variable rate irrigation. This is site-specific irrigation, precision site-specific irrigation for center pivot systems. The manufacturers of these systems develop the hardware and the software that it is needed for this variable rate application, and consultancy companies develop practical applications of emerging technology for soil sensoring and soil mapping. So with these two innovations converging, the variable rate irrigation for site-specific precision application of water was a reality that became a possibility. We could see fancy brochures with a lot of colors promoting the technology. If we look with detail at this process, and we can use the theory of diffusion of innovations developed by Roger years ago, we know about the innovators, enthusiastic farmers wishing to adopt anything that comes new. This is followed by the early adopters who look at those innovators and find that there are things that they like. However, before the innovation reaches the early majority, and that should be the goal, the objective, there is typically what we call a chasm. The early majority watches with more prudent eyes what the early adopters did, and they want to make sure that the innovation is actually benefiting and improving what they have been doing so far. So this chasm, which comes too often because the gap between the actual capacities of the new technology and the user's expectation is something that we observe and we can describe using what we call the Gartner's hype cycle. The visibility in this case of variable rate irrigation technology went very high after the promotion of the manufacturers and the consultants that were giving this service, and it reached what we call the peak of inflated expectations. But at that time, researchers and even developers in the manufacturing companies were in a condition of disillusionment. They were even saying that they were developing solutions looking for a problem rather than solutions to a problem. This is actually quite common in our sector, and we should watch and be careful to avoid this type of situations because they can be the cause of unsuccess of innovations that in different conditions should be successful or will have room for success. So at that time we were on what we call the throat of disillusionment in the Gartner's hype cycle. However, we researchers with a group of researchers and professors from the University of Nebraska, where this technology came up, started to develop knowledge about soil water holding capacity and mainly about the variability of this soil water holding capacity. This variability is what actually can justify the technology of variable rate irrigation. So we made use of publicly available information, and what you see here is a map of the water holding capacity in the soils of Nebraska. And we started to climb up the slope of enlightenment in the Gartner cycle just by understanding in which conditions variable rate application was an appropriate technology for the objective of improving irrigation efficiency and productivity. So we went a little bit further and we overlap in a Google application those maps about soil water holding capacity with the geographic information system of the 60,000 million of center pivots that are in the state. And you can see in this screenshot of the variable rate irrigation pumping reduction application. So each farmer could look at his center pivot, at the soil variability in the center pivot, and assess the water saving that could be achieved by introducing this new technology. The application also allows the farmer to enter the cost of pumping in his farm and it does an economical analysis of the interest of the investment from the economical point of view. So now farmers have a tool that helps them to decide whether to introduce variable rate irrigation in their farm. So we can say that we have reached the plateau of productivity of this particular innovation, site-specific variable rate irrigation for center pivots. And this is just an example of the process of innovation where first the horse was running faster than the rider. And that was the reason for the chasm between the early adopters and the early majority. Again, my message is that we have the responsibility of watching these processes to avoid this type of situation that can be the cause of unsuccess, of failure. We have talked about a particular innovation process. That was my experience. And while I was talking about the different solutions to cope with water scarcity, the different innovations, I was using the term of mission-oriented innovation, enhancement-oriented innovation, anticipatory innovation, and now I am introducing also adaptive innovation. I think it is important we distinguish between the different type of innovations. The first one, mission-oriented innovation, means innovating for doing innovating to achieve an explicit goal or outcome. That was the innovation associated to the modernization of the collective irrigation systems in Spain and other countries in Europe. I have talked about enhancement-oriented innovation when I was talking about smart irrigation. There, the goal is doing existing things better. When I mentioned the introduction of solar pumping as a response to the increase of energy cost in the modernized irrigation districts, I use the term anticipatory innovation, which means that in those cases we are exploring and engaging with emerging issues, energy consumption, that might shape future priorities and future commitments. That was, I insist, the case for solar pumping, or that is. And finally, I want to introduce another reflection about adaptive innovation. And this is important when we move to developing countries and we try to export the innovations that we have developed in our own conditions without thinking about the new context. It is there where the bottom-up and participatory research and co-creation has more sense, and we should be careful about that. So, going back to our list of means to cope with water scarcity under the strategies of reducing demand and water supply, let me talk a little bit and quickly about a nature-based solution to increase supply that we are studying, researching today, and that has created a lot of interest in water planners and basin authorities. I am talking about an ancestral way of recharging shallow aquifers in mountainous areas. This water has different functions. Maybe the main one is irrigation downstream in the lower part of the watershed, and that is what you see on the right. While on the left, you see the careo channels that are used to divert the water from the streams, from the ravines during the snow melting period in the mountains, and what you see is in Sierra Nevada. That water is diverted and distributed to recharge shallow aquifers that help to regulate the water in the river and to extend the availability of water during the summer. So this is an annual regulation that can substitute the dams that conventionally have been used for that purpose. The idea here is that the water diverted from the ravines during the melting period is spread over an area where it infiltrates easily, so it can move as groundwater flux and eventually emerge in springs or downstream in the river. And for that purpose, this is the ancestral practice of spreading the water, as you can see in this picture, where at the bottom you can see areas of greenhouses near the Mediterranean coast in southeastern Spain. So this is an example of integrated water resources management. It is non-intrusive and it helps for water supply regulation. It has several ecosystem services related to biodiversity and carbon fixation. So from ancestral experience to intensive knowledge and innovation needs, there is a long way, and this is therefore another field where we should encourage innovation and the implication of startups and research and development institutions. Thank you very much for your attention, and I will be open for questions and comments today, but also through the email that you have on the screen. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Luciano. This was a fantastic and insightful presentation with clear examples, and I hope that this has set the ground. And I look forward to hear now about the solutions that can address water scarcity from a holistic perspective to capture all the different aspects of the challenges faced today. Thank you, Luciano, once again. If there's any questions coming from YouTube, comments, LinkedIn chat function, or Twitter with the hashtag InnoWise Scale, please address them so we can ask Luciano right now, or we can take them at the end of the session, or through email, as he just mentioned. Okay, if there's no comments or questions, we will jump into the innovators pitching. I would like to introduce the first set of startups that will be presenting their solutions, and it will be followed by a short Q&A with the jury members. After the first presentations, we will have a short break of 10 minutes, and then we will continue with an exciting conversation on challenges and opportunities around investments in the water and agri-food sector with high-level speakers such as Gaetane Suzenet, María Echávarri, Andrew Walker, and David Smith. So please hold with us during the whole session today because we have a very exciting agenda. But let's now kick off with the first video from Tatiana Rodriguez that will be presenting Seca Flor Sur. The floor is yours to play the video now.
Good morning, my name is Tatiana Rodriguez, and within this very short time I will try to convey the main ideas of our project. We are focusing on agriculture, of course, and especially in this project with the agricultural productions of fruit, trees and vegetables and all the crops we are treating with our panels in Spain. We are responding to a lot of challenges, but it's all about water scarcity and the problems are flowing from it. The water management in Murcia is on the spotlight. The water cost, the water is very expensive and very difficult to reach. It's really, we have a potential risk for drought years, and we have the uncertainty for the water transfers. And moreover, we have the salinity, which is a very negative factor for the soils. But we are really proud and really happy of the results we are reaching with the more than 200 projects worldwide. Please take an eye on the savings. which are the key factor for us. We closely collaborate with our clients and with our partners, making available for them all the experience, all the expertise and all the know-how, and making available as well the properties of the panels, which are the key benefits of our product and which are really, really amazing. Please, the top 3 figures, put an eye on this. Save on irrigation up to 50%, save on need for nutrients up to 30%, a reduction of salinity up to 40%. And moreover, we have additional advantages related to the soil, to the growing condition, to the humus, and etc. Some key data, again, please put an eye on the savings and on the proof that the clients are really happy, because more than 70% are coming back to us. We are certified with official certification bodies, and of course we are really committed to the green environment, to the green future. Market traction, of course we have it. Everybody is on desperate need of solutions because of the water scarcity of the planet. And we want to go towards new results beyond data recording and analytics. We want to change the conditions. The competitors are not doing so in the same way. They use chemical components, non-biodegradable waste and plastic. We don't. Here you are, some of our competitors. Here you are, our core markets and the time frame we have foreseen, and which is really, really important for us. At the beginning, B2B sector, and at the end consumer, and which is the market potential, both in Spain and internationally, all the potential. We have millions of batteries available for applying the panels and their benefits. And of course, we have a lot of risk, but we have foreseen a lot of solutions for them. Some key data about our business model and revenue streams, the pricing strategy, and of course the scale-up plans, which are really important. And we are very happy this year we have already reached the targets. We can help Sanluca to tackle the problem with the international experience, with the business philosophy of partnership, and giving a unique response with one simple and green application, all-in-one solution. This is our team. I'm very proud to belong to, and we are going towards the new direction, towards the same direction for changing the conditions. This is the main idea I want you to retain. Thank you for your attention, and I wish you all the best of lucks. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. I hope you are well.
Good morning.
I enjoyed the video and the presentation.
Thank you. So I think I can start asking questions. Thanks a lot for your excellent presentation. And I was also checking the website of the solution, which first aim was to fight erosion, and that is a very interesting application as well. I've not understood very well the way you are fighting salinity in coastal areas, because the way you are fighting salinity is about soil salinity, and that 40% that you presented is very, very ambitious. So are you able to tell us, in case of seawater infiltration, how this will enhance the challenge of salinity? So I'm interested about salinity objective that you are presenting, that are very much of interest for Sanluca.
Yes, thank you for the question, Mr. Fatone. Indeed, the salinity is one of the main challenges, because indeed in South Europe and coastal areas, we have a lot of it. The solution for the salinity is going through between 25 and 40%. This is the maximum. And it depends, of course, on the type. If it's very close to the coast, the reduction of the salinity is lower. If it's very far away from the coast, is better. The panel is retaining water, and the nutrients keep inside. So the nutrients are helping the salt to be smashed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was studying the solution. Yeah,
It's
the mechanism was not very clear, but well, you replied.
It's very technical because it's a question of the components of the panel. I'm not an engineer, but
No.
you know, so but the salinity is treated by the nutrients that there are inside the panels already.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for your presentation, Tatiana.
Thank you, Teresa.
I would like to know if it's possible to implant your system in a farm with the fruit crops established when the crop have around 5 years, 10 years. Is it possible to incorporate this system?
Yes, it's completely useful and it's completely possible to do it. But the system and the procedure to put the panels is different. For example, we have many examples in Jaén with olive trees and the old olive trees that there are already planted long years ago. And then the system for putting the panels is different because, of course, we are not able to take away the tree because of the roots and everything. So we have to crush the panel and we have to insert them, and the procedure is different. We put them in the first layer of the soil and then we cover with substrate as well, but we combine cut in pieces panel plus a crushed panel, in order not to move the old tree very much. The procedures are different depending on trees or depending on plants. The procedure for putting the panels on.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you, Tatiana, for your video. I have a question. Why do you think 30% of your clients do not come back? Because you said 70% are coming back. Why the 30% do not come back, and what are your plans to increase the number of the clients coming back to you?
Well, given that the return of the investment depends on the type of plantation. For example, for plants and vegetables in 1.5 years or 2 years, the investment is returned, and for trees it takes a little longer, 3 years more or less. But we think that the clients rely on the price. Maybe the clients not coming back are relying on the price. So what we try to do is to improve our pricing strategy in order the clients to be able to come back to us and to return the investment in a short way, in a short time, of course.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much to everyone. Thank you, Tatiana, and the members of the jury. Okay, so let's give the floor to the next startup. Will be represented by Mercedes, will be Visual Nasser. Thank you.
Hello, I am Mercedes Iborra, co-founder of Visual, agronomist, engineer, and third generation of farmers. Visual is an innovative agri-tech company founded in 2014 in Valencia, and our mission is to create climate-smart technological solutions for the agri-food sector, seeking economic, environmental, and social sustainability in the value chain. We are Endeavor entrepreneurs, and I would like to highlight that we are officially recognized as an innovative company by the Ministry of Science and Innovation, and that through our foundation, Generación Agro 2050, we launch our social action initiatives. We have an all-in-one platform to give real-time field insights and give support to growers with precision agricultural practice. In 7 years, more than 400 companies trust us, and 4 million hectares are managed. Regarding Sanluca problem, we have studied their needs and the environment. The farms of Santa María are influenced by the climate change. The water represents 5% of the operational cost. is often saline, and water scarcity makes soils difficult to leach. Our solution is an outstanding integration of on-farm information systems. Visual sensor to know in real time the weather and soil conditions and water only when necessary. Visual satellite, including the advice of our specialists, and visual farm management that integrates data from crop operations, all in one platform. Hands-on and intuitive applications will be used with multi-device access to have good user experience in the fields. The estimated impact represents a saving of 20% in water consumption and a reduction of 25 tons of CO2 per hectare in 1 year. This solution is based in our experience with leading fruit companies. We like to listen and learn, so we develop efficient solutions for precision agriculture. We have a strong presence in the agricultural sector. We work with professional farmers, co-ops, wineries, and service providers, mainly, and other segments like protected varieties or flowers. Visual has a strong intellectual property policy registered as trade secret or industrial design, and in addition, our entire team works under confidentiality agreements. Our company is aligned with the European Green Deal, and we work to anticipate their compliance, which is a competitive advantage for our customers. This is why Visual optimize and reduce the use of farm inputs. Our ambition is to reduce in 10 years the consumption of water and emissions by 40%. In our roadmap, we are introducing drone service and precision irrigation advice, especially in drought conditions, in collaboration with relevant institutions like Polytechnic University of Valencia or CAR. And this is happening in a growing market that in few years will reach more than 12 billion, and in which we have been recognized among the best agri-tech startups in Europe. We have a SaaS business model with a direct sales channel in-house and a commercial partner agreement with Telefónica since 2015. Our solutions are deployed in 3 ways: with a proof of concept, with operational products already available that you can check in the website, or with projects designed to meet particular needs. We work with agile methodologies to make projects more efficient. We are a team of 40 passionate people with expertise in agriculture, technology, and data analysis, with references from customers in 8 countries, with growth based on sales, a profit-making company with realistic growth expectations. Our customers really appreciate us coming out with deep industry knowledge. With Visual, you will be better and more sustainable. Let's work together. Thank you.
Hello.
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 Thank you very much.
Hello.
Good morning.
We can keep the same order of questions. Thanks a lot for your presentation, very clear. And I was wondering, what is the specific decisions that you are supporting in the case of Sanluca, because this was not clear to me. So if you can specify in the specific case, specific challenges of Sanluca, what you're going to support as priority.
As priority, we will propose in this solution to install sensors, soil and climate sensors. These sensors will take the data about when is necessary to irrigate, and through the information of the sensors plus the information of the satellites and all the information in the farm management software, you have an all-in-one platform where Sanluca could know the best irrigation moment and the best policy for the farm management. It's an integration, but is in our opinion is the best solution. Trying to connecting sensors, satellite imagery, and the farm management systems.
Thank you.
Okay. I have a question about the crop where you testing your system. If you are implement this system only to fruit trees or vegetable, or which type of crop you can use this technology. The second question is when you speak about irrigation strategy in drought, is about using efficient use of water, or is about more regulated deficit irrigation or other type of strategy where you apply less water than the crop is demanded?
Thank you, Teresa. Well, in order to answer the question about crops, we have been testing our solution for many years, not only in fruits, but as well in different crops. Actually, we work with citrus. We are from Valencia, and it's one of our main crops. Citrus, olives, nuts, and dry fruits. There are different crops that we are working with. We have more than 400 customers with more than 70 different crops, and our sensors have been tested during not only our sensors, 10 different sensors we have been testing for 2 years. And after these 2 years, we choose one of the sensors that we thought that were stronger, the more efficient sensors for our solutions. And in salinity conditions, it's not only about less water, because in most of the moments, it's not less water, is the water when you need, because you have to, in most of the occasions, you have to apply more water to leach the salts. So our sensors with the information that the sensors give us could help the Sanluca to know when to apply more water in order to leach the salts. It's not only about less water. We are not talking about reducing water. We are talking about reducing water plus reducing salt problems.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I have a question. How much does it cost to digitize a hectare of agricultural land in average? And is there a monthly fee for the applications and the service for the farmers?
Yes, we have a SaaS, a software as a service model, and in the case of the platform have an average of 2,000 per year. It not depends of the hectares, the number of hectares. For us, it's not important. The fee is different for the number of users, is not for the number of hectares, And with the irrigation sensors or the irrigation management, the model is like a hardware as a service. We think that it's an innovative way to propose the management of the irrigation.
Thank you.
Patricia,
thank you. Thank you so much, Mercedes, and everyone. So let's continue with our next startup from Synapis.
Hi, I'm Ari Kambouris, the co-founder of Synapis, and I'm here today to present to you our solution to EIT's water scarcity challenge for Sanluca. Sanofi's is a company that provides solutions to real-world problems in agriculture. We've got over 400 solutions deployed on 100 farms in France in all types of crops. Sanluca's problem statement is pretty simple. There's not enough water and it's too expensive. They're actually using about 400,000 cubic meters per year, and it's costing 110,000 euros per year, and that doesn't include the maintenance of the irrigation system. What we're proposing is a plot-based systemic approach to regenerative agriculture. So we're going to measure and monitor using sensors, and then use an agroecological approach to farming to reduce the water consumption. The measure and monitor part is Cinesense Smart Agri, connected sensors in the field that transmit the data on a network and then are consultable on the web. The advantage of our system is we're actually measuring the microclimate that is in the field, in the trees, and in the plants. So air temperature and humidity being measured in the plant canopy, the soil temperature and humidity at the root structure, and the leaf humectation in the foliage. And our competitive advantage is exactly that. We're measuring the microclimate in the field, in the plant. So it's a direct measurement, the temperature and humidity of the soil, air, and leaves in the microclimate of the plant and in the orchard. There's no data interpolation, and we can measure as often as we want. This is the client interface, just a demonstration of the difference between indicators for dew and rainy episodes. The advantage of the system has proven over the last 4 years: optimization of water resources, a reduction in pesticides, better flora and fauna biodiversity, an increase in soil fertility, and by managing the budget constraints. So a low-cost solution that we know that it works. We're combining it with an agroecology approach with Cuvert Vegetal Service, with the idea of increasing soil fertility. So the techniques may include permanent ground cover, no plowing or tilling, the idea of producing biodiversity. The goal here is to create an auto-regenerating ecosystem that we're in permanent equilibrium. The gains and loss are measurable, so over an increase in organic material, an increase in yield for wheat and corn. For apples and kiwis, we had 2 to 3 days of bumblebee pollinator work in addition, which represents 20 to 25% of increase in activity during the pollination period. In the vineyards, we're down 25% in the use of pesticides and phytotreatments. And in lettuce producers, we're in reduction of 20% of water consumption. We would expect these impacts to be similar to what we expected at Sanluca: an increase in soil fertility with reduced water consumption, better knowledge of the orchard and tree microclimates, increase in biodiversity and reduction of carbon impact and reduced costs, and of course, the ability to scale up at other Sanluca implementations. In terms of ecosystem services economical impacts, we've got better water retention, up to 30,000 cubic meters per year that stays in the soil, reduced water consumption up to 75%, and reduced carbon footprints on both the desalinization and the pumps, 22 tons and 160 tons per year from the reduction in usage. We would also recommend a risk assessment for Sanluca because the air temperature over the last few years has been on average going up. The annual precipitation has been going down. The Taos Segura aqueduct cannot actually provide the quantities of water that were thought to be available. And the groundwater scarcity is increasing because the well replenishment rates are lower due to the lower rainfall. In terms of the market for payment ecosystem services market, it's growing across the board, as is the market for global agricultural sensors. Sanofi's history, we started in 2016, and we're moving forward as well. You'll be working with myself and Jerome Corgi for the agroecology part with 10 years of services, professional services. And finally, let's go down to Murcia, let's go down and see what's happening, and let's give you a roadmap for how to reduce your water. Thanks for paying attention.
Thanks a lot. That's excellent systemic approach to innovate the system in agriculture. So I have a quick question that is about, the sensors that you're installing are quite different, as you mentioned, but the operation and maintenance of the sensors will be up to the farmers. What kind of service model you are planning for those kind of sensors?
The sensors that we have are actually extremely reliable, and we have never had an electronic failure in our sensors. and the maintenance consists of changing the battery. So I think most of the farmers are able to change a battery.
Thank you.
Okay. Good morning, Ari. Thank
morning.
you for your presentation. I only have a question because I don't know if I understand really the system. Your system offers some kind of data analysis or recommendation of the objective is record data, displays this data to be analyzed by the technician of the farm.
No, we don't. It is not a decision-making software. So what we found from our experience is that the farmers and technicians and agronomes do make the correlation between what is happening on the screen and what is happening in the field. So we actually we display a maximum of 6 data points, and these 6 data points are used by different cultures or in different crops for different ends. For example, in olive trees, they use the soil temperature to detect the emergence of the pupae that are going to become the flies that attack the olives. And in the vineyards, for example, and also in the orchards, they use the air temperature, the air humidity and the leaf humidity to identify the optimal moment to apply their treatments and have a better adhesion on the leaf. So we don't tell them when to apply. It's the results of using the system, and the value added is this correlation between what they see on the screen and what's happening in the field.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, Ari.
Hello, Andres.
I have a question. What are you using as a ground cover, and is the same for every country, crop, altitude, and etc.?
No, it's not. In fact, the ground cover, it would depend. One of our first actions would be to do a survey, to go down to Murcia and do a survey, because what you're going to use as ground cover depends a great deal on what the actual soil composition is at the moment, and what types of environment that you're already dealing with. So someplace like Murcia, which is probably hotter and drier, would not be the same type of ground cover that we would use in the Champagne region in the north of France. The idea is to apply the correct plant that is going to help develop that compost and that mulch that's going to keep the humidity into the ground.
Thank you.
Thank you all for your attention.
Thank you, Ari, and thank you, Jory. This is fantastic, and I would like to call in Aspa from Wings, from ICT Solutions, to present the video.
Hello, this is Ioana Decopoulou. I work for Wings ICT Solutions, and I'm here to present Artemis Water, which is a smart irrigation and water management solution tailored for the Sanluca use case. So the Sanluca challenges as identified is first that the irrigation costs pose a competitive disadvantage to the company. There's a high risk of drought years, which is going to cause many problems to the water supply. Quality of water supplied is often saline, and all these problems have significant negative effects in production. So the Artemis Water solution first creates a division into virtual irrigation zones with customized scheduling according to the types of irrigation system that Sanluca uses, an automation watering schedule adapting to the water schedule which takes into account weather and season, remote operation, inspection and leak detection with alerts, water stress monitoring forecasting with real-time monitoring and predictions of water consumption, and real-time water quality parameters monitoring in order to safeguard the salinity levels. Overall, Artemis Water offers integration with diverse irrigation devices and sensors, remote management of irrigation network, consumption monitoring with user-defined time intervals, detection and early warning of incidents such as leakages, integration with billing systems for farmers to keep track of the costs, and prediction of water demand. Here is the Artemis Water dashboard. The devices can be identified in the map. The groups of devices here can be handled individually through the dashboard. There are here live messages regarding any irrigation alerts, any scheduling, any maintenance issues. Here we can see in diagrams the different parameters monitored in the field. They are monitored real time, and you can see predictions as well here. Here is the consumption, real time monitored. So the Artemis Water comes with hardware, which is the Wing Smart Gateway. You can actually implement this into the field, and it retrieves data from the local sensors and devices and transmits them to the cloud, to the Artemis Water dashboard. So regarding the market validation, we have identified that 20 to 40% of the Europe's water is being wasted mainly to leakages. Physical visits at the water supply meters is costly, often OPEX-wise. Most farms currently decide that the irrigation schedule based on everyday experience, and forecasts indicate that temperature is going to significantly rise and there is going to be a decrease in rainfall until 2050. So the market size right now in water control and monitoring solutions is coming from 22.8 billion and in 2017 to 30.1 billion in 2023. The global water quality monitoring market size comes from 3.8 billion in 2019 to 5.38 billion to 2027. Our sales and marketing strategy regarding Artemis, first, that the value that we pose is that the measuring and monitoring of water, energy, and gas networks. We detect leakages and faults. We monitor quality. The target market is water companies and rural or urban irrigation. And we have identified our sales team. And the sales plan is to go for public tenders and partnerships, face-to-face meetings with network companies, and leverage on funding. Artemis Water has already been implemented in many places in Greece, such as Monemvasia, Argos, and Xanthi. It has been successfully installed, and of course in other places such as France and Portugal. So the competitive advantages of Artemis is first that the overall efficiency increases, effective water savings are coming, overall cost reduction, and real-time monitoring on the fields 24/7. Wings is a company that develops digital solutions for air quality, utilities, transportation infrastructures, aquaculture, food safety, and health and wellness and industrial IoT logistics. Thank you.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, Aspa.
Hello.
Hello, Aspa. Thank you. Thank you very much. So I can make a start with the questions from the jury. Well, even in this case, I would like to ask more detail about what you are practically going to propose for Sanluca. You were presenting your solutions, but for Sanluca is quite specific. It's an important case, but practically what you propose for the specific case study.
Well, the presentation was about our solution about water management, which has already been deployed in a few cases, and we were planning to customize all of the components to this specific requirements of the client. But that's a process that actually it happens over time. It needs a lot of communication with the client, and so our proposal would be to start with the existing solution, and over time we could develop more customized components.
Oh, sorry. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, Aspa.
Hi.
I have a question about, in your video, you commented that you integrate different, your system in different field devices and sensors. Please, could you specify if you have some soil plant or other real-time monitoring? Because in the picture, I only see sensor in the pipe and in the irrigation network. I would like to know if which type of sensor you install on the field.
Okay, so we have worked with multiple water meters that can be either placed inside a client's building, or they can be placed in multiple points in the grid, in the network, the water network. So our device goes above the existing water meters, and it can integrate the measurements and send them real time to our digital platform.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Aspa. I would like to know what is the proximity to water leakage, and if any of the data you collect can be sent to the farmer. Let's say they forgot the water on and the water is running.
Okay, so actually the proximity to the leakage is dependent on the grid itself. So if we have a lot of meters installed, and if, of course, the leakage is quite big, then we can locate it within about, let's say, 10 to 15 meters proximity. But that is, I have to say, that can only work if we have a lot of meters close to the leakage. However, even when the leakage is far away from the closest meters, after a while, when the consumption is a lot above the usual, then we can again locate the leakage and just point towards its location. And for the second part about the farmer, each farmer has a user. He has his own credentials, and he can log into the system. He can have it on his mobile phone and receive alerts that we see an unusual consumption. So sometimes if we have his email, he can also receive an email telling them that something is abnormal, and if he thinks he has left it open, of course, we identified it as a leakage, but they can see that it's actually something that they left.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much to everyone. Thank you to the 4 startups that have been presenting their innovative water solutions today. Impressive work. And we will present the following 4 startups after the break, which are Sonapse, Bund Planet, Neuropublic, and AgroAnalytics. So we will be back at 11 a.m. sharp, and we will present the 4 video presentations, and we will take questions from the jury, just as we have done with the first set of startups with Secaflor, Visual Nasser, Synapis, and Wings. So good luck to everyone, and thank you so much. We will see you in the next 15 minutes. Hello, everyone. We are back at the InnoWise Scale Agriculture Competition. For those who just joined us before the break, we were seeing the excellent work of the 4 startups competing at the InnoWise Scale, and now we are looking forward to discover innovative solutions from other 4 startups. Those are Synapse, Bund Planet, Neuropublic, and AgroAnalytics. So let's start with the pitch from Cosmo Pepe from Synapse, and then we will take questions from the jury, just as we were doing in the previous session. Take the floor, Cosmo.
Good morning. I am Cosmo Pepe. I am one of the co-founders of the Italian startup called Synapse. Our product for the AG tech is called Pluvium. The aim of Pluvium is to solve the problem coming from the water scarcity and the water waste in the agriculture. That occurs mainly because agriculture is carried on using traditional methodologies that are no longer valid. Pluvium is learning the hydric behavior of the system composed by soil plus crop plus the geography, and is able to predict this behavior 5 days in advance with the precision higher than 90%. This brings irrigation cost saving that can go up to 50%. Pluvium works through an IoT channel, the gray side of the slide, that's reading data coming from the soil and from a weather forecast. And these data are moved to the artificial intelligence, that's the orange part of the slide, that's doing the job I described before. The AI tools are split in 2 subsystems. The first subsystem is responsible to learning the hydric behavior, and the second one is responsible to produce the irrigation advice for the farmer. This technology, methodology, and algorithm are patented in Italy, and we have the PCT to extend the patent international. That's some scheme coming from application, and that's the hardware, the third-party hardware we commonly use in our installation. Pluvium is well known in the international irrigation management subsystem, and that's some prizes we won during our life. Some of our customers, we have a wine producer, we have a green chemical company, we have a research institute. I want to stress the Poggetti Vecchi that's growing dry rice, and you can only imagine how important is irrigation with dry rice. Unique selling point of Pluvium is a plug-and-play application. It's totally independent by the soil, by the crop, by the geography. It's hardware independent, and the subscription, the software subscriptions cost as low as €300 per year. The target market are all the companies that are using water for the irrigation. Just to give you some numbers, in Europe are more than 3 million. The model is direct plus channel, and the channel are the hardware producer, the irrigation system manufacturer, and the IT companies. We are asking for an investment round of 1 million and covering less than 1% of the European market. We will reach this number in 5 years. The investment will be used mainly to strengthen the business development, and the rest will be used to expand our assets, and we are working on a second patent for nutrients. That's the team, and that's a Sanluca proposal. It's very easy proposal because it's a one-page proposal, because Pluvium is plug and play, so we are going to use some weather station. And the expansion, the international expansion, it's just a matter of finding the right framework, economic framework agreement, because Pluvium is totally independent by the crop, by the soil, and by the geography. So, thanks for your time and join our project.
Hello, Cosmo.
Hello, Cosmo. Thanks a lot.
Hello, good morning.
Thank you very much. This was a very nice presentation, and well, quite pretty clear. My point is about water quality and, for example, salinity, because your system is going to address quite pretty much the water quantity. But do you have systems that are interfacing with water quality data, salinity, that is nutrients, is very much of interest for agriculture?
Yes, we are de facto already using in one of the installation in CREA sensors that are reading the salinity, the residual salinity in the soil, and the same is for the nutrients. For salinity, we are able to read data of the salinity just as a monitor. We cannot do the forecast, the same forecast as we do for the irrigation. That's for sure. So the last word is that we can manage it. We can measure the salinity. We can measure the nutrients, but at the stage now we cannot use the same logic we use for the water quantity and time.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I have a question similar to or related with the question of Francesco. You say that the system is independent of the soil. Then I am curious to know how you identify the points where the system should be installed across a large heterogeneous farm with a problem of salinity.
Well, the farmer knows where to install the sensors, because our main goal is to address the irrigation, to give the best irrigation suggestion to the farmer, so from this point of view, the agronomist that works in the company knows how the water can move in the field. That's what Pluvium is doing.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, Cosmo. I have a question regarding the weather. Is there a mechanism to inform the farmer of an extreme weather condition event like heat waves, that they can damage crops, so he can go and take some measures to protect his crop?
Yes, we normally use a public service weather forecast like AccuWeather or something like that. But we work with a localized weather station in the farm, because we read the data, then we use our input to elaborate, to work on the weather forecast to give it related to the exact point where is the installation. So if there is some kind of extreme weather, we can give an advice to the customer, and he can react in some way.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Cosmo and the jury. Let's play now the video of Bond Planet with José Teixeira answering the questions from the jury. Thank you.
I'm José Teixeira, Key Account Manager at Boom Planet, and today I'm going to speak about artificial intelligence to reduce water losses. This is a water reservoir in Spain. As you can see, it's almost empty. Agriculture consumes around 70% of all the fresh water available. This will increase to 90% in 2050. We have developed a solution called Boom Brain that is able to reduce water losses. It was tested and proven in urban areas, and now we want to do the same in agriculture. So I will leave you with a video explanation about how the system works.
Boom Brain solution reduces leaks and commercial losses using cloud computing, big data, hydraulic simulation, and advanced mathematics. Boom Brain receives a copy of volume flow and consumption data, makes an analysis, and identifies pipes with a greater probability of leakage, and water meters that should be checked or replaced if causing commercial losses. At Bund Planet, we want to improve the planet with the help of software.
The system can adapt to every water network requirement. First, we can pre-locate a leak on a given area, and after we can do it using virtual DMA and do the leaks pre-location at the pipe level. From the economic perspective, we will direct impact on the water costs. Okay, the system will help the customer reduce the consumption and the operational costs. This is a result that we obtained in Germany, one of our first case studies in Germany back in 2016. As you can see, the water consumption reduced by 34% and the water loss reduced by 50%. Some customers, all of them water utilities and municipalities, we started in Germany and now we are going worldwide. For the agriculture sector, we have two cases. One from the water supplier, they supply water to the farmers, and which we will detect and pre-locate the leaks on the main distribution pipes, and the other one in the irrigation in the agriculture. So the same case of Sanluca. First, we have to integrate all the historical data to be able to perform and to apply artificial intelligence, and then if we needed installation of new sensors to start to do testing and to start to check and find anomalies in the water network. And we will adapt the existing solution we have for the agriculture sector. That's our final goal. In 2013, we started to develop the solution BullBrain. In 2017, we have received an award from Horizon 2020 SME instrument, which we have our first customers in Germany, Spain, and Portugal. After that, in 2019, we signed a distribution agreement with Siemens, and now we are in this internationalization and the sales team expansion. Now we are 3 on the sales department. Our team, we are 20 people. We are truly committed to the innovation, truly committed to what we do, helping water utilities and other companies saving water. Let's work together. Let's save water. Thank you very much.
Hello.
Hello, Jose.
Hello, everybody. Thank you.
Hello, Jose. Thanks a lot.
Hello.
This presentation was very clear. Actually, I'm working pretty much in the urban water cycle, so I know the potential of your system. But at the same time, I have a bit of doubts how you're going to adapt this to irrigation infrastructure and to the water-soil interface. So this is my question. How many sensors you will need? And because the availability of data is much lower in irrigation and soil system, and now you're going to take into account the interaction with soil. So the systems are quite different.
Yes, of course it's different. We know it's a big challenge, but we know there's like the agriculture consumes a lot of water, and this is something that we are already having on a roadmap. We have like this segment that we want to attack, and this was an opportunity to do this. And we spoke with Sanluca. We know on the agriculture there is a few sensors that must be installed. Of course, we will try to adapt to the budget of different agricultures of the numbers of sensors we have to install, because as we on our presentation, we can find and detect leaks on a parcel on a given area, and we can go a little bit further using hydraulic simulation. It's like a mixing artificial intelligence and hydraulic simulation, creating virtual DMAs that we can be allowed to be more specific, like 300 meters. But this will depend of the number of sensors. It's never the same. Sometimes on 200 meters we have to install on 2,000 kilometers, for example, we have to install 10. 10 flow meters or additional sensor that might help us, but it will adapt. We will have to speak with Sanluca or other companies that want to do this to adapt the situation. And we really know it's a big challenge, but we don't know exactly which sensor. If we install one sensor or two, we will be able to find a leakage on a radius of 300 meters or a radius of 100 meters. It will depend on the number of sensors we install, of course. Thank you, Alan.
Thank you.
Hello, Jose. My question is about how the agriculture market accept your experience. The second question is if you have a large experience in the implementation in pressurized irrigation network on plot.
No, thank you for your question. No, we don't have any experience in agriculture. This is like our approach. We have an existing solution for urban areas. We used to work with pressure, all different type of sensors. We can integrate into BoomBrain all different sensors with different brands, model, and so on. But we don't have an experience yet into this field. Okay, we are trying to go, and we love challenge. We want to go through this and make it happen. But we don't have, but we don't have any experience working with the agriculture sector.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, Jose. I had the same question with Francesco, so I had to find a new question for you. In your video, you say that you decrease the water losses by 50% in urban areas and by 34% the water consumption. Yeah. How did you decrease the water consumption?
With the client, of course, we don't work on the field. What we do is we reduce the consumption because we started. If you saw in the video, when we did the implementation, we detect a lot of different leaks, and one of them was a big leakage, and that big leakage goes underground, and they wasn't able to find that leakage. And in this case, this first case study that you saw, we had like 9 sensors installed, and we could find leakage from 0.3 liters per second. It's a very small leakage, so we was able to find in a short period of time a lot of leakage, and one big one that was increasing this consumption on that area. That was the reason we achieved that partnership with the customer, because after that we generate the event. The customer, the user, will get an event on his mobile, on his email, and they have a leakage on this area, and they automatically start with the people on the field searching for those leakage. And we had lucky, and it was a great project to start because the results was amazing.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jose and the jury. Let's continue now with the next speaking with Vasilis from representing Neuropublic.
Hello, my name is Vasilis Portonotarios and I represent Neuropublic, an innovative informatics and technology company based in Piraeus, Greece. I will start right away presenting our proposed solution for the agricultural use case. We all know that farmers, including smallholder ones, are responsible for producing safe and sufficient food for the ever-growing global population. At the same time, farmers face some serious challenges that affect their financial sustainability and environmental impact of food production. So we need to help farmers address these challenges. And this is where Neuropublic's Geasense smart farming system comes into the picture. Geasense is a Greek innovation that combines information technologies with agricultural science and helps farmers reduce the impact of their production on the environment, optimize the use of inputs like irrigation water, reduce their production costs, and improve production in terms of quality and quantity. The Geasense smart farming system makes use of data acquired from 4 different sources: satellites, the agrometeorological stations of Neuropublic, the agricultural advisor, and the farmer or his agronomist. This data is collected, stored, processed, and feeds scientific models for the irrigation, fertilization, and crop protection of each crop. It finally turns into smart farming advice with the help of an experienced agricultural advisor. GeoSense covers a constantly growing agricultural area in Greece, currently supporting more than 30 crops. It has also been used abroad at a smaller scale in countries like Spain, Portugal, Poland, Ukraine, and Cyprus. One of the crops that GeoSense supports is peach. It sells a lot with apricots, the crop that our use case focuses on, and peach farmers already reap the benefits of GeoSense. Using GeoSense, farmers save on inputs, improve crop quality and quantity, and increase their total benefit by up to 44%. Compared to the competition, GeoSense is a well-balanced and fully featured smart farming system that provides a wide variety of services through a small annual fee, and without any need for investing in expensive technological equipment. GeoSense is based on the collaboration of a diverse team of experts in various fields. A selected subset of this big team is going to contribute to a potential collaboration with Sanluca. In our use case, we aim to help Sanluca address their water scarcity and salinity issues they face. Our work will focus on their production sites in the area of Santa Maria in Murcia, Spain, where Sanluca producers grow apricots. We can help Sanluca improve their irrigation strategy, the efficiency of the available irrigation water, and work on the issue of high salinity. Republic has already implemented a high number of smart farming projects in Greece and abroad, so we have set up a solid workflow for the implementation of such projects. Data acquisition will start in the first year, and data will be available to Sanluca, while the irrigation advice will be eventually provided during the second year. We have already collected and used satellite data to calculate various indexes like EVI, NDVI, NDWI, and TTO for the specific area for 2020. In addition, we acquired temperature and rainfall data from the Murcia Meteorological Station to validate the satellite data. On top of that, we calculated SPI to identify the drought events in the study area, identifying 8 extreme events so far. All these will be combined with the results of soil and water analysis and various other data and will feed the GeoSense irrigation decision support system. This system visualizes a wealth of irrigation-related data and contributes to the provision of an easy-to-apply advice consisting of the optimum irrigation time and dose for each parcel. So, we at Republic believe that our GeoSense smart farming system will be the ideal solution to address the challenges of Sanluca, and we would like to thank you for providing us with the opportunity to be among the shortlisted candidates.
Hello, Vasilis.
Hello, Vasilis. Yes.
Hello.
Can you see me?
We can hear you.
Hello to all.
We can hear you, but we cannot see you. Anyway, I think we can proceed. No. He's out now.
Unfortunately, Vasilis was having a little bit of internet connection problems, so let's see if he can join back. Otherwise, we can jump into the last startup.
I'm here.
Here it is. Okay.
Sorry for the technical issue.
Fantastic. Good to have you here, Vasilis.
Great.
Thanks a lot, Vasilis, for the presentation. Well, I'm pretty much concerned about salinity, as maybe you understood from my previous questions. And
I have noticed that.
It's a major issue in the Mediterranean basin. And well, you were presenting a very good analysis of the case study, even in Murcia, and you were presenting how you are going to use high-level data. What about, again, water and soil salinity? Out of monitoring is okay, but how you're going to support decisions to fight this challenge?
Okay, so thank you for the question. We're talking about two issues, one in the soil salinity and the water salinity. In the first case, about soil salinity, what we are doing with our GeoSense smart farming system is to make sure that we provide a good advice to farmers about the fertilization, so they don't overuse fertilizers. They avoid putting too much nutrients in the soil, which may affect the salinity of the soil. This is a different service. It's a part of the total services offered by Essence, and it's one part of the solution that can address the salinity issue. So in its case, farmers know what fertilizer to use, which nutrients to use, when to apply them to the field, and how to avoid overusing or stressing their crops by through the inaccessibility of fertilizers and nutrients. On the other hand, and what's at the heart of what we are proposing here, and it has to do with the irrigation water, the salinity. What we are proposing and doing is we are using some reverse osmosis units that address the salinity issue of irrigation water, and on top of that, they are powered by solar panels, and this reduces the energy required for the usage of these components. And in the case where this is possible, so we need they have the batteries, and we also use solar panels on top of them. And we make sure that in both cases, both in the soil and in the water, we reduce the salinity to the minimum possible.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Vasilis.
Thank you, Francesco.
Hello, Vasily.
Hi, Teresa.
A priori, there are several companies that could be similar to your company, where we have satellite images, sensor in situ, and also analyze this data and do recommendation. What could your difference be with respect to the other solutions?
To our understanding, what's the main difference between our proposed solution and the other solution is the use of research outcomes. We mainly use scientific models that are developed by collaborative researchers specialized in the irrigation, fertilization, crop protection, meteorologists, etc. So we have these different scientific models for each crop and for each case. For example, we have a different irrigation model for peats, and it is adapted to the adjusted to the needs of a specific microclimatic area or conditions. So it's not a ready-made solution that works out of the box as it is. And this is why we usually need about one cultivation period in order to adjust our system, to set up the data acquisition infrastructure, and make sure that our scientific models work perfectly in the specific area before we start providing advice. I think this is the main difference between the proposed solution of Essence and other systems.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hello, Vasilis.
Hi, Andreas.
I have two small questions. Does the farmer need some agronomist to use Essence? And which is the small fee you mentioned for your services?
Okay. The first part, while the advice it's very easy for a farmer to understand and apply in the field, we always suggest that he has his agronomist by side, because he will be able to evaluate the advice and help the farmer apply it in the field in the best possible way. But the farmer does not need any digital skills or specialized knowledge to use the Essence smart farming system. Everything is pretty simple. And for the second part about the fee, what we are doing with Essence is we follow a smart farming as a service model. It's more or less like the cellular, the phones, the telephony, where the company pays for the infrastructure like the telemetric stations, and we are talking about these agrometeorological stations, IoT devices that NeuroPublic designs and develops and evolves. So they are built in-house, and the farmer does not have to pay anything apart from this small subscription fee. He doesn't have to pay about the infrastructure or the tools, etc. Because we address each case as a unique case. we don't have a fixed price list, for example. We don't have because the fee depends on various factors like the total size, the area that needs to be covered by the services of GSNs, the number of different parcels that will be covered if it's not a uniform complete area, the type of crop, if GSNs has already been applied in a nearby area, etc. And this creates a very high diversity of prices. So it's very easy to make an estimate for each case. So we treat each case as a unique case.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much to everyone. I'm pleased to present AgroAnalytics, the last organization competing at the InnoWise Scale Competition, represented by Antonella Maggioni. Take the floor, Antonella.
Hello, my name is Antonella, CEO and co-founder of AgroAnalytics. I'm going to present our company for the Agriculture Challenge in the competition organized by WE&B. And when we started Agro last year, we found a huge problem in water management sector, specifically in agriculture. And I'm going to tell you some statistics. Currently, 70% of fresh water is used in agriculture. And it is estimated that by 2050, the population will reach 10 billion, which means that the demand for food will double. We need to produce more with less. But current solutions are expensive, not integrated in one platform, and unable to monitor entire terrains. Our solution, an integrated platform to manage predictive and real-time information on water availability and its effects on crops. Agro offers two different packs. Pack 1 combines remote sensing, public weather stations, and machine learning. And our models are able to calculate water availability in every piece of land using hydrological balance. The second pack is able to integrate to our Pack 1 sensor data as private and virtual weather stations, allowing us to validate and train model more accurately. Finally, we provide all this information in a user-friendly dashboard. For example, here you can see the vegetation index in one of Sanluca terrains, and our solution is able to optimize water availability up to 40%, which means cost saving. AgTech is a booming sector. Investment in AgTech grew 370% the last 6 years, of which 3.3 billion were invested in Europe. And smart irrigation is expected to grow at the compounding annual growth of 17, reaching 9 billion in 2027. We have started in Spain, but thanks to the scalability of our technology, we have an ambitious expansion plan to France, Italy, Mexico, and US. And that's why our forecasted ARR is 40K for year 1, 600K for year 2, and 2.8 million for year 3. Our business model is a B2B SaaS, focused on unions and agricultural companies, having a freemium model until 5 hectares, a pro plan of 25 until 10 hectares, and a customized plan according to customer necessities that will be charged by hectares and by users. We have been working since March when we launched our MVP with 4 pilot clients. We got 9 more clients with the launching of our beta version, and we are expected to reach 23 clients in our first year of operations. In the competitive landscape, where we see our main added value is we are able to give universal crop recommendations while we train and validate our model through different APIs. That's why we have a strong partnership strategy allowing us to offer a complete solution and accelerate growth. We raised our pre-seed round in March, and now we have secured an additional 78K, and our seed round will be in March 2022, and our goal is to raise 500K. What is most important to us, and we are most proud of, is our amazing team. We come from different backgrounds and culture, and what unites us is the desire to drive sustainable agriculture for a healthier world. Do you want to be part of Agro Revolution? Join us. Thank you.
Hello, Antonella. Thank you for your presentation. It was very clear. Well, I have a different question for you. That is more a curiosity. You presented pretty much your roadmap for your business. Do you think that the business model pay as you save can be applicable to your solution? Pay as you save.
Okay, yeah, could be, yeah. So we started with this initial pricing that is per hectare. But then we have an additional type of monetization that is a percentage of the money of clients could save. So we started with this because we are new in the market, but we have in mind to our go-to-market strategy different prices, like according to how money are able to save the companies. Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good morning, Antonella.
Good morning, Teresa. I can hear you. You are muted.
So now?
Yeah.
Sorry. Good morning again. I have two questions linked. The first one is if you could specify in which crop you have validated your system. And the second is that I imagine that you are planning to extend your applicability to different crops. Then how feasible and quick it's meant to be incorporate a new crop into your system?
Yeah. So we have been working in fruits and vegetables, mainly in tropical fruits like avocado, tomato, cucumber, and these are our asparagus, our main pilot client. But then we focus our product from balanced energy strategy, which means that it will be applicable to every crop because it doesn't matter the stage, the phenological stage of the crop. So we can then improve the recommendation, for example, with more information like sensor or different information, but our technology is applicable and scalable to every type of crop in this moment.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello, Antonella. The question of me is, which is the difference in savings from the two packs you mentioned in the video? The first pack without the in situ sensors, and the second pack.
Yeah, so our model is able to predict or to give recommendation without sensor. So we get information from weather station, from satellite information, topographic information, and we are able to give information because we have different type of client. We have companies or unions that they don't have information, and we need to give at least some recommendation, so we are able to give it. But then we have companies that they want to implement more technology, and our main added value is we can improve the recommendation with different type of sensors. It doesn't have to be a lot of sensor like an only sensor company, because we are able to give information according to the type, different index or type of soil. So we can get this information from satellite. And then with this sensor, we can train our machine learning model, and we are able to improve the recommendation. And then it's the same with weather station, that we are now working with public weather station, but we can include virtual weather station or private weather station to improve the recommendation and train our model to be more accurate along the time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Antonella and the jury. We have now completed the second round of pitches today. I hope you enjoyed discovering solutions that address key challenges on water availability and shortages, salt concentrations, crop water efficiency, and water savings. I think we hear that great overview of the problems expressed by the problem holder. So to recap, 8 startups are competing for 3 prizes, and the winners will be announced at the end of the event. Good luck to all the startups. And before we jump into the next session, special thanks to the members of the jury, to Francesco Fatone, Andreas Crisantu, and Teresa Carrillo for the excellent questions. Thank you. And while the jury deliberates about the winners, let's continue with an interesting conversation on challenges and opportunities in the water and agri-food sector. We will take questions coming from social media channels at the end, so please remember to write your questions on the chat of LinkedIn, Twitter, and also on the YouTube comments. Okay, so without more hesitation, I'm very happy to welcome Stuart Regeluth, founder of Revolve. He will be acting as the moderator of the roundtable, and he will introduce you the topic and the speakers. Welcome, Stuart. Hello.
Thank you, Patricia, for the introduction, and thank you, everyone, for having me today. My name is Stuart Regeluth. I'm the founder of Revolve. And for this session, we're going to address, as Patty just mentioned, the challenges and opportunities for investing in water and agri-food, which is a rather daunting task. We all know that agriculture uses some 60 to 70% of water resources available to humans. We know that the risks of water access and availability are increasing with climate change. It's exacerbating droughts and flash floods, for example, which begs the questions, how can water usage be optimized so there's less waste and more efficiency? How can we increase investments in agri-food that are sustainable in the long run? Today's roundtable seeks to address these questions and builds on the UN Food Systems Summit, just a couple of weeks ago on the 23rd of September, that stressed the need to move towards, and I quote, nature-positive production. Agri-food is perhaps the industry with the largest environmental footprint, so finding the right formula is primordial for reaching UN SDGs, in particular number 2 on zero hunger and number 6 on clean water, that most everyone viewing us today and calling in is familiar with. I'm happy today to be joined by 4 leading experts in these fields. We have Gaetane Suzenet with us today, Andrew Walker, María Echávarri Toda, and David Smith. I'm going to briefly introduce the speakers together, and then each will have a few minutes to give their opening remarks. So, with a strong focus on the water sector, Gaetane Suzenet has worked for over 25 years in different private equity and venture capital funds in France, the UK, and the USA, including Astor Capital, amongst others. Andrew Walker hardly needs an introduction. He's an international marketing strategist specialized in water. And as of last month, he was appointed Chief Marketing Officer of the enhanced membrane company G2O Water Technologies that is based in the UK. Ms. María Echávarri Toda has worked for over 10 years with venture capital. She is Director of Investment Portfolios at the Bolsa Social Fund, a newly created social and environmental impact fund based in Madrid, Spain. And lastly, David Smith is Director of Water, Environment, and Business for Development. He's a core member of the IWA working groups, and he has implemented numerous projects for Horizon 20, EuropeAid, Global Green Growth Institute, World Bank, the Inter-American Development Bank, amongst other private sector partners. So, without further ado, Gaetane, the floor is yours to give us some insights into what you see as the main challenges.
Thank you, Stuart. Thank you for setting this in. Hello, everyone. You've given some context about the topic of this roundtable today. If I may, I would add to that the, let's say, agri-food sector is also a market, and that's, I think, important also to say that in the context of the investment world. Somebody has to sell something and somebody has to buy something. Very simple, but I thought I would add that. And the good news is, I would say, that the agri-food sector is changing in terms of its practices, in terms of looking at innovation, in terms of the business models, but also the technologies which are available, and we've seen obviously a good sample just now. And I must say that it is a positive trend, and you will understand that in a minute as to why I'm saying this, is because when I started working in this area, in the agri-food sector 10 years ago, it was not the case. We were looking for technologies, we were looking for, let's say, putting the supply and demand together, and we were actually looking for innovation. So there was a demand from the market, but it was difficult to find the innovation. And the reason why it was difficult to find the innovation, it was also because the investment world was not really interested in this area at the time. But now things are changing, if we set the context, and if I may, I would like to share with you just a few numbers. Antonella from AgroAnalytics gave us obviously the overall investment money invested so far in agri-food, which is 3 billion. But I think now we need to go into a bit more details, and I think there are some quite interesting trends. The first one is that from what we have seen this morning in terms of the technologies, in Europe, because this 3 billion is just in Europe, less than 10% of the investment is actually dedicated to software, to IoT, to sensors, compared to almost 25% to what we are calling the novel or the new farming systems, like indoor farming, for instance. And just to give an example, in Europe, I'm sure you're all aware of the fact that, for instance, InFarm, the Berlin-based startup, has raised quite a few millions to develop its technology and its innovation. So there is a dichotomy between what we hear in terms of what is actually available in the areas of interest to us this morning and the investment actually dedicated to this area. The other number I would like to share with you, and I'm just going to come on to the challenges, is that investment for the agri-food sector represent globally only 10%. So the majority of the money is actually going to China and to the US. So despite the fact that we have a few agtech funds, and I'm very pleased of that, or that existing funds, and I'm talking about funds in general, although I'm more specialized in VC funds, open new areas with the agtech, the money is still not dedicated to the areas that would be of interest to us this morning related to tackling water scarcity and water efficiency. Just to finish on my introduction, sorry I'm a bit long, but just to set the context. I would say that in terms of challenges, I would list 3 challenges. The first one is the economics. I mean, what we have seen this morning is a lot of good tech. It's basically from an investment point of view, how are you making sure that the business model is going to be sustainable and make sure that you're going to be actually be profitable at the end. The second one, which is linked to it, is the scale-up process. You know, from this 10% dedicated of the 10% investment dedicated to these companies in Europe or scale-ups, there's going to be only a happy few. So the scale-up issue and the consolidation issue, and I can come back to that later on, is very important. And the last one is, if you want to scale up, you need to access big money. And big money doesn't mean not just, you know, the famous 1 million that the scale-up are very happy to raise. 1 million, you burn that, you know, within a few months or within, you know, a few weeks if you already want to scale up, compared to what I said, you know, the 400 million raised, you know, by InFarm.
Right.
So that said the context, we have good news. I think there are still challenges to work on, and I would be very pleased to hear from my colleagues, you know, what they think about these challenges. Thank you, Stuart.
Great. Thank you very much, Gaetane. Yes, the market is moving, and although Europe may have the smaller slice of the pie globally, still on the move, let's say. Let's turn the floor over to Andrew to give us some insights into the water angle of things. Go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, hi there. It's lovely to see you, Gaetane, Stuart. I'm really representing the water tech side of things, and we've heard some wonderful examples this morning. Very innovative solutions, working towards circularity, reducing footprints, making things more efficient. And for me, when it comes to agriculture, we do not have a technology problem. I think that's quite clear, and I think that's a summary of what we've seen this morning already. The biggest challenge really for water tech companies, if I have that hat on, is that the agri sector is pretty difficult to engage with. So there are really very, very many dispersed entities that you would have to deal with. The regulations in different countries, even different regions, and certainly across big geographies like Europe or North America, they can change quite a lot as well. And that makes it a less attractive proposition, certainly for a smaller company to try and engage with that marketplace because it's extremely fragmented. There's also a perception, and that really builds upon what Gaetane was talking about, that there's actually not that money being invested in, if you like, circular technologies in agriculture. That the practices, if you look at irrigation, if you look at the way that runoff from agriculture is just let to go into the water streams, little circularity, that there's really an old way of approaching water in agriculture, and the regulations, although certainly the water reuse regulations in Europe have helped to some extent, the actual practice and the execution is quite slow, and the regulations can be a little vague in specific applications at least. So that's the challenge almost, but I'd like to support Gaetane's message as well, that there are a lot of dynamics in the market right now. I just came back from a wonderful event in Amsterdam in the Netherlands, which in terms of horticulture is of course, a big center of expertise worldwide. The Netherlands exports the second amount of food worldwide behind the United States, and for such a small country with a relatively small population compared to the States or the whole of Europe, that's really significant. So it's a hotbed for where policy making and entrepreneurs, technology, science, where that all comes together, and investment as well. And I think what was really interesting there is that the so-called controlled environment agricultural sector is booming, and in-farm was one mention from Gaetane a moment ago. There are multiple applications of both greenhouse agriculture as well as vertical farms. That's being driven, of course, by consumers' renewed love of vegetables and fruits and leafy salads, etc., and a healthier diet. So that's the one trend there, of course. But also, of course, because of certain breakdowns in the supply chain we've observed in the last 18 months, especially, people want to become a lot more autonomous in terms of the food supply chain. Then the further trend is urbanization, and also bringing those food supply opportunities closer to the city. So urban farming, or farming just outside on the periphery of towns and cities, is a massive area of investment. And the good thing for water tech companies is that marketplace is particularly easy to engage with. It's predominantly driven by entrepreneurs. There's a lot of investment going into that. In-farm, that's one. In North America, there've even been SPACs set up, so special purpose acquisition companies, which are basically, it's a holding for a lot of money with a rough intention of, we want to invest this money in this kind of area. So it's rather vague, but there's been tremendous amount of capital around food security, particularly in North America. So there are two tech companies or developers of technologies for urban farming and greenhouses, which deserve a mention in North America, just to have a look at what they're doing. One of them is called 80 Acres Farms, and they've raised not only a few million, Gaetane, but nearly $1 billion in capital to be able to basically install a farm with the capacity of 80 acres of food produce within every urban center in North America. That's their mission. Well worth looking up, and well worth looking at the TED Talk from their owner, Mike Zelkind. I'm doing blatant promotion, but I have no affiliation to them. It's just really worth looking at the case study, Stuart. And the second company worth looking at is an entrepreneur who was big into renewable power and solar power, particularly in North America. And he has launched a company called Appellation Harvest, not app as in the app, APP Harvest. And they've raised as well a tremendous amount of capital from a very hungry market of private investors, big pension funds, all really looking to get onto the food security bandwagon, if you like. In Europe, the investments I've observed and heard about last week are more from, if you want to call it, the patient investment community, the large-scale pension funds, and in the Netherlands there's a bank called the Rabobank, which helps to finance these deals, and they have a very, very long-term view. And those investments are very interesting, and it's also driving water recycling at point of use. So if you've got these large greenhouses, you know, they've got to be operated very efficiently, of course. They have a potential as well with aquaponics, as well as in vertical farms, to do tremendous things with water. But quite often the water supply there is even more precarious than it might be on the open field in certain applications at least. So the paradox is, I think, that on the one side we have the traditional agricultural sector extremely inefficient, wasting a tremendous amount of water, very little recycling at point of use, runoff of nutrients into the water streams, causing eutrophication, all kinds of problems. Climate change exacerbating the situation in terms of water scarcity. So wine growers in France really struggling with their harvest and with their yield. I mean, you're going to see this year, the wine from 2021 is in France, Gaetane, I'm sure you can support that, is going to be few and far between and very expensive. There's been a really difficult year this year. And so water is playing such a tremendously important role there. But I think we're going to see the trends and the investments and the growth happening in the controlled environment agriculture. I asked, just to stop very quickly with some stats again, Stuart, if I may. I asked in one session I was chairing last week some vertical farming experts in Europe, and we had some Asian vertical farming experts on the floor, and I said, well, in a scale of sort of 0 to 10 in terms of how ubiquitous vertical farms are, you know, are they widespread? Are they all over the place? Where are we today? And how long will it take to get to, 7 or 8, fairly widespread? So the answer, of course, from both of them was we're at 0.1 in terms of vertical farms. So there's still a lot of work to do, tremendous amount of investment being channeled in there. And the answer from Europe was, well, by 2030, 2031, we're going to have a fairly widespread setup in terms of vertical farms, on the scale of 7 or 8 out of 10. And the Asians then said, of course, well, from Korea, we're a little bit faster than you guys move. We think 2025, we're going to have, on the scale of 0 to 10, we're going to have 7 or 8 in terms of vertical farms there. So look at the dynamics which are happening there. Look at the investments. Look at the players. It's pretty easy to engage with. If I was a water tech company, I am. That's where I will be focusing my energy, Stuart.
Great. Thank you, Andrew, for those insights. And we'll get back to the opportunities, hopefully, in the second half of our interventions here. Let's pass the floor, please, to Ms. María, so she can give us some views into the challenges for startups and for investors. Let's get a little bit on both sides of the coin there.
Hi. Hello. Thank you, Stuart, Andrew, and Gaetane for the interesting points you shared. I would just add from my investor point of view, like what I think are the challenges for startups that startups face, what are the trends, and what are the investors looking for. So what are the challenges that startups face? There are actually a lot, but I will summarize them in 3. Funding, grow and scale up, and long sales cycles. Funding. There's a lot of competitions, and VC want to invest in best in class. So, and of course, once we invest in any of them, we do not invest in the competition. So entrepreneurs have to work on an innovative solution and start to execute as soon as possible, so they have good KPIs to show investors. Grow and scale up. Growing and scale a company is hard. I mean, if you have technology and funding, it will be easier, that's for sure. But again, there's a lot of competition, and now it's not enough to help the sector just to digitalize, for example. So you have to offer innovative and scalable solutions. And long sales cycles. The agri sector in Spain and in Europe, I know more Spain, but in Europe it's the same. It needs to digitalize. But large traditional companies, they are often reluctant to do so. So therefore, startups must cope with very long sales cycles, sometimes as long as 2 years, before they acquire a client. And this in turn means they must have sufficient funds to stay afloat during this long period. So, I mean, it's quite hard, these challenges, and it's just like summarized. So then what are the trends? Some months ago, the EIT Food published the top 5 trends for the agri-tech industry in 2021, which I agree with 4 of them actually, but they are like innovative proteins. It started at plant-based foods, but now it's way more than that, including insects, for example. Health, as we consumers are more conscious of our nutrition and lifestyle. Convenience, direct to consumer agri-food services, which is not new, but it is starting to be profitable. Sustainability and reducing waste, everything related with food waste, water scarcity. We have seen today a lot of these companies that they are facing these huge problems. And the fifth one you mentioned that I really think is included in the health trend, which is new flavors and experiences. I think that these new flavors ultimately aim to improve our health. For example, startups that manufacture plant-based products or alternative proteins, such as insects, as we said. So at the end, what are investors looking for? VCs or impact VCs like the one I'm working for? I would say we are looking for the first and most important thing, winning teams. We look for top teams with relevant industry experience. With one of you, we were talking about this, like if some of the jury, they ask him if he has industry experience. This is very important because it's a very complicated sector. So with the relevant industry experience, that have ambition to grow and with complementary backgrounds, for example, a mix of sales, operations, and tech people. And favorable industry structure. I mean, having said that, we are opportunistic and we like to invest in favorable industry trends, such as the ones we mentioned, alternative proteins, good health and well-being, convenience. We look for sizable markets, more than 1 billion euros at least, that are growing where competition intensity is low and where barriers of entry are high. That's the best scenario. And then a scalable business model. In terms of business model, we love, Gaetane talked about it as well, we love software as a service. I mean, because it means recurrent revenues and high margins. So agri-tech SaaS is really a trend, especially if it includes data analytics, artificial intelligence. This helps farmers to be aware of their fields 24/7 and also receive alerts that when they when they need to irrigate or where the crops are at risk due to pests, for example. And software as a service, and the other scalable business model we like is IoT. It's a trend as well, and it helps farmers to get data and monitor the crops from analytical dashboards and take action based on insights. IoT in agriculture, it uses robots, drones, remote sensors, and computer imaging, combined with continuously progressing machine learning and analytical tools for monitoring crops, surveying, and mapping the fields. And it provides data to farmers for rational farm management plans. And the fourth, I said the investors were looking for winning teams, variable industry structure, a scalable business model, and innovative products. I mean, we like to invest in innovative products that have a sustainable competitive advantage, for sure. So I know these points are useful for you to understand what's in an investor's mindset.
Yes.
But we can go through them during this panel if you want.
Thank you very much, Maria. The way you describe it is like very difficult to break into this market. So if for the startups and scale-ups that might be still viewing this, congratulations for participating in these pitches and in these bids, because it's not easy. David, what's your perspective, please? And the main challenges.
Yeah, good
dip
morning,
into
everybody.
some of the opportunities if you want, and we'll try to relay that in.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you very much, Stuart, and also thank you to my colleagues on this roundtable, especially Maria. I think your insights were specifically valuable for young startups wanting to enter into this market. Of course, we know the key challenges from an environmental point of view, the ideas of population growth and an increased need of production and indeed providing livelihoods for the farmers and protecting the environment are some of obviously the key issues that we've seen around what we've seen from a global perspective in COVID-19. It's and climate change. These are really threat multipliers to what is really happening in the sector as it is when we look at the idea of water availability and shortages and the salt concentrations and the water savings that are needed within the sectors, and obviously combining that with the different sectors and making sure that we're using the water equitably between all. Indeed, there was a recent publication by the Union for the Mediterranean that said that the introduction of organizational innovations, where we're talking about new business models or aggregations or partnerships, will become crucial for the agri-food businesses to survive. So I find those quite heavy words in saying that how important it is to have partnerships and to make sure that there are collaborations that are happening within that. And I think that goes really well and hand in hand with what Maria was saying, is that when they're looking to provide financing to these scale-ups and SMEs, they're looking for partnerships. They're looking for skill sets. They're looking for teams that are able to bring everything together. And then I'll add one more challenge to that the startups in the sector potentially face, and that's confidence in their product, process, or methodology. And a lot of time they have a very brilliant idea, but it's lacking time in the market. And this makes it very nervous for investors, or very nervous for the actual end users to take that up, because they're not sure how it will actually work within their own business and their own sector. In terms of the opportunity side, as a business owner and an SME owner in the environmental sector, I really cannot stress this idea enough of cross-sectoral partnerships, collaboration, and cooperation. For us, it has been absolutely key to have success in this sector and to move forward. And if you're looking to grain partnerships, look also outside of your own sector. So not only looking at partnerships within the agribusiness, but also the water tech side. Have a look at the different stakeholder groupings and where you can potentially find interesting partnerships that maybe before you hadn't even considered. I'd say the idea of having a look at a systemic approach to the entire problem will help to find further opportunities in areas that perhaps you haven't seen before. In fact, we heard from Fernando from Sanluca that he said that they were busy collaborating with some SMEs to overcome their challenges. And I think that's really key, because as a business, they focused on their main area of expertise. And when you get smaller companies that are specialized in a particular aspect, they can partner together with the larger companies and bring solutions and innovations to the market.
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes, I've seen businesses trying to get into the market, and recently I've had the pleasure to mentor a company in the water business and the water sector side, with a brilliant innovation in that sector, but they're really struggling to get market penetration. And the reason I could see behind that is that they just weren't where they needed to be. And that really, for me, is to be in platforms, in networks, in communities of practice, demonstrate your technology in a living lab situation. So bring that technology right into practical implementation, get it proved and get confidence in that product, and that will increase the potential for investment. One of the, and I'll finish on this point, one of the greatest areas that I can potentially see in terms of where innovation can happen within this sector, and it was actually Luciano from CSIC that mentioned there's a large potential for the innovation in water markets. And this is basically where we're seeing water as an asset and can be treated as a tradable commodity. And that can actually help to allocate water and address the problem of water scarcity. But when we look at that as a common good and potential poor management that can lead to the high social cost, potentially blockchain technology can bring in a smart water market and will enable to effectively allocate water resources, empower the consumers, and to bring economic and social value, and to incentivize the conservation of this resource. So just to finish, I think my main point here is collaboration, partnerships, and by doing that, you're bringing in strong teams and getting confidence in your product, and you can bring it into the market.
Great, thank you so much, David. The emphasis on cross-sectoral partnerships, getting out of silos, also looking to local partners you mentioned that may know the terrain better than a big multinational that may try to come in and impose a solution, right? So working with the partners that really know their milieu and their environment, let's say. I'm sure some of what you said resonates with Gaetane and Andrew. So let's pass the floor back to them to see from both of them, and then also from María. Gaetane, any follow-up thoughts on opportunities and areas that could be exploited by the newcomers, let's say, if there are any?
No, we all talked about the challenges, let's be positive.
Yes.
Actually, what you said, David, is music to my ears, about blockchain, about partnership, because I think blockchain is a good example of being in a partnership for wisely managing water resources in a way that doesn't trade water, but you actually trade, the system. And it's probably one way forward. And personally, I'm a great believer in this, that could be the way forward in Europe as we are organized to move, the water management issue forward. Just to respond to your question, Stuart, I think, we all know the fact that it is a global market, that there's a lot of money available, as Andrew was mentioning, in the US and probably, hopefully soon also in Europe. We know the pain points. Now let's do it, I would say. It's rather, implementation. It's also about the business model. And I mean, Maria, I can also echo exactly what you said. And Andrew, I think we're all on the same page here, that we have all the instruments, we all know what to do. Now it's transferring this to the market. And I think the fact that there is the InnoWise Scale Competition and program is good because it's understanding what the market wants with what the startups can provide. I know it's not the challenge discussion, but one challenge still, I think, from the market and from the investor point of view, and if we have scale-ups listening to us, is really, as Maria was saying, what is the differentiating factor from the rest of the world? Because we can say that the market is reluctant, and I hear your points about the fact that it's difficult to enter the agri-food market. But the feedback that we get from the market is also it's difficult for us to decide which solution to take up.
Okay.
So this is an opportunity now with all these programs going on to understand where the market positioning can be. What are the differentiating factors, and how each solution can best serve a portion of this very big market.
Right.
I think that's where the opportunities are now, really, to move forward. And the last one,
Yes.
I think, in terms of opportunities, it's also understanding the relationship between the economics and the environment. It's not one or the other. But the good news is, I think, with the new solutions coming onto the market now, is that the startups understand that it's not just about solving the water scarcity problem. It's solving the water scarcity problem and making sure that the productivity is here, that the social benefits are also taken into account.
Yeah.
And if I had one piece of recommendation for the future, it would be really get your economics right to make sure that the market is fully aware of the benefits of the solution, and that reduces the sales of other life cycle.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Gaetane. Andrew, picking up on that and what you mentioned earlier, I believe you said this is not a technology problem. We have the technologies are there, right? Is it? Let me be a little bit controversial and say, is it a culture of funding? Is there a mentality difference between the Americas and Asia that are a bit more risk taking, and the Europeans that are a little bit more risk adverse and may like to rely on grants and things like that? Do you see that coming into the equation, or am I off base there?
Well, let me shy away from Asia, not being too much of an expert on there, at least not recently. But certainly when it comes to America, you've seen a tremendous amount of money which has been invested in because of the fear of missing out, so the FOMO effect. And I'm not sure if that is a healthy development, because that typically can lead to bubbles bursting, etc. So it'd be very interesting to watch the vertical farming and greenhouse, controlled environment agriculture market segment in the States. I think in Europe, the investments are a little bit more substantial in terms of their sustainability, because like Gaetane already said, you've got to get the economics right, but also from the investment side of things. If it's not, a sustainable investment opportunity and a sustainable economic opportunity, then we run into all kinds of other problems. So that's the way I would say that. I think Europe is in great shape to change things, and I've seen things being changed very quickly. I just think that we may be speaking to the wrong people, and I think that the market is being heavily disrupted through increasing consumer trends. And to build upon blockchain and what David and Gaetane were talking about, we have a very lineal system, archaic system really, which is being changed quite rapidly, and it's being changed at an accelerated pace because of the lockdowns we've been in. So consumer behaviors and the value and the appreciation of good food has grown up tremendously. Veganism is on a big march forward, and whether you like it or not, kids nowadays demand it, want it. And so there's a lot more plant-based diets coming into the sector, and that gives a completely new outlook for entrepreneurs. And I'm working in the horticultural sector actually with a number of completely left field players. So for example, I met with 4 gentlemen who have created a startup in Germany about vertical farms, and they are going into property development schemes in particular in the Ruhrgebiet around, Düsseldorf and Dortmund and that area in the northwest and the west. And with the rejuvenation projects going on there, new buildings, a lot of tenants don't want to live on the ground floor. And so their pitch is, okay, well, let's get in and do something with this property. And they came up with vertical farms. So you have then a situation where a community starts to get farming in its basement on the ground floor. And imagine then if blockchain comes in and you perhaps have some co-ownership of that farm, and you are exchanging transactions around that, and you own your own buildings, produce of at least leafy vegetables, your tomatoes, your cucumbers, your chilies, your strawberries in the middle of winter, very healthy, very efficient. You have your, a great LED lighting down there. You have your water, aquaponics, and you own it all yourself. You don't need a farm, which is, in South Africa, on the other part of the world, transporting produce with 20 different people in the supply chain. No, you break it down to you've got 3 people in the supply chain between you and the seller. That's it. It's absolutely magnificent. Those, I think, are the disruptive technologies and situations we need to look into closely. And I'm sure that farmers, if they're not awake to it yet, need to be thinking about that very, very carefully.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. Bringing it local, the reality check. Maria, did this kick off any ideas, spark some thoughts about some of the cases you might have in your portfolio? You're on mute, so by the way.
Okay, yeah. We, in our portfolio, we invested in a company called Rodata. It's a French startup. I don't know if you know it. I mean, it's a French startup that operates in the agri sector. It has developed a B2B SaaS that uses artificial intelligence, big data, and satellite images that allows farmers constantly monitor the health of their crops, their fields. So it's a precision farming technology, since it allows farmers to perform the right intervention in the right place and the right time, responding to the specific demands on individual crops and individual areas of land. So it has many functionalities. It integrates, among other, the irrigation recommendations. So customers can enter data on how much and when they have irrigated, and the software crosses this data with weather information to make more accurate decisions about irrigations are made, and thereby helping them save water. So for farming enterprises, Rodata helps optimize resources such as chemical fertilizer use and water consumption, while boosting land productivity. So this is the only company we have invested in this area, but really we are looking for more companies, because we really see here there's a pain, and we are an impact fund, so we have to look for problems, and there's a big and huge opportunity. So I like very much all the companies here in this program that they share their projects. I think really there's a huge opportunity, because there's a huge problem here.
Yeah, thanks, Maria. One of the things that jumped out at me when I was listening to the pitches was one of the companies mentioned that there's 20 to 40% of Europe's water is lost to leakages. That's like 30% of water lost just to leakages in old pipes, old infrastructure in cities, and arguably out towards agriculture and the peri-urban spaces. That's not really a technology problem, that's an infrastructure problem. So if we're saving water on the efficiency side of where it's coming out of the tap, that's one thing. But I don't know, that just seems like a colossal feat. David or Gaetane, if you want to jump in on that point, or any other opportunities.
Stuart, actually, in my previous life, I worked at one of the largest water treatment companies in the UK, at Thames Water, and it was a big issue. And 30% of water was lost through leakage. It's a massive problem for water companies that they have been focusing on over the last couple of years. And it's been a big impetus because the regulators are behind that to make sure that that is being eliminated. And in fact, while I was still there, they put through a large program of fixing leakages, so much so that they were able to close down 2 water treatment plants because they were saving enough water that they didn't need those two plants anymore. So it just does show that there's a lot of efficiencies that can still be gained, not only in the water sector, but indeed across the agri-food food business altogether. I just wanted to jump on quickly on Andrew's point that he mentioned about the vertical farms, and that one that he gave from Düsseldorf. I think it's a brilliant example, not because of the technology, because here often we do focus on technology and something tangible, something you can hold. And that's innovation, right? But innovation is also on the social side, on the business side, on the economics, and this is something that Gaetane has mentioned as well. Get your economics right, and I think the innovation in those areas is there's still a lot to be done and a lot that can be improved on. And the example that Andrew gave shows a really nice idea of that social and that economic innovation coming together with technology, and I think that's where the opportunities lie.
I would say that is there an oversaturation of markets? Of course, don't think so, because as we are all saying, there are a lot of players, but not that many success stories, not many winners yet, and there's always space for improvement. And here, as they were saying, there's still a space of improvement, and we need these success stories. So, because the scale of the problem is big, and also a few numbers as well. There's $2.6 trillion in the value of food wasted every year. $2.6 trillion. I mean, that's huge. Also, food production accounts for 26% of the global greenhouse gas emissions. I think this detail we shared before as well. And there's 9 billion is the estimated population the world is set to reach by 2050. So, I mean, we need a startup that are able to drive agricultural productivity so we can produce more food, but with less resources. So there's the huge, I mean, the scale of the problem is so big, as we were saying.
But I think Maria's point is very, comparable to the water losses. So we lose, a third of the food is wasted, and let's say a third. David was quoting a situation which is improving, but let's say a third of the water is lost as well in these big archaic systems. If we can get rid of that waste, we're already in great shape for water abundance. And if you imagine that if Thames Water was losing so much, a very highly professional utility and with resources to fix that problem, imagine what the agricultural sector then is losing. It's not going to be 20%. It's going to be a lot more than that. So if we're able to move to, local point of use agriculture, water recycling to a large extent, we're going to create tremendous water abundance, actually. And I think that water scarcity will become a term which we will hopefully not see quite as frequently. And at the same time, you've got to remember that the difference between electricity and water in terms of prosumption of water and recycling of water is that water is extremely heavy. So it's very, very hard to transport it, and it costs a tremendous amount of energy. So the water that Thames Water is actually losing in the pipeline, just to use that example, is being transported hundreds of miles in some cases from more water abundant areas in the Lake District of the UK, etc. And so that energy is something you've got to think about as well. In terms of decarbonisation, there's a tremendous opportunity, which I would love to see somehow monetized in making those more local water recycling schemes available. And the savings in terms of CO2, etc., of cutting out those very long pipelines of water, which all the world uses, they are absolutely astronomical. I mean, what we're talking about in terms of small efficiencies here, a bit more water reuse, plugging some leaks, has nothing to do with the scale of impact we could have by stopping transporting water in long distance. And so I'm very confident that very soon we're going to move to very tangible impact in terms of agriculture and the way that water is being used. I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of shake-up of the marketplace. It's being led by the consumer. It's being led by communities who are taking hold of this kind of thing. And I'm fairly confident that we won't be talking about agriculture as using 70% of our water in the very, very near future. And it may not even be the major user of water anymore. So let's work towards that water abundance.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. And Gaetane, you had a comment you wanted to. Maybe we close with this, depending on time. Go ahead, please.
No, I mean, very quickly, I think, all of this cannot be moved forward if the market doesn't signal its willingness to get on the innovation train. We had a very good example this morning with Sanluca. So that's good to have this kind of signal. It's how the market now can set the trends in order also for the investors, back to what we are discussing here, so that it gives confidence to the investors that the area is actually sustainable in the long run.
Okay, so you would be a proponent of Adam Smith's invisible hand, where the market helps direct investments and investors, not the other way around.
Yeah, I love water, but I love economics as well.
Yes, I can tell.
Maria,
yes.
Yeah, I mean, to finish, I would say that we agreed about how funding may be an issue because startups need a lot of funding. But I actually think there's a lot of money. I mean, startups can opt for a range of funding sources, including funding from traditional VCs and impact funds. Now funding for agri-food tech startups is booming. And for impact investing funds, the agri sector is particularly interesting given the magnitude of the environmental problem caused by it. And then funding from large corporations. I mean, now through their venture capital arms or through corporate sponsored accelerator programs. I mean, for example, PepsiCo team up with Beyond Meat to make plant-based snacks, or Campbell, the U.S. Food and Snack Corporation, has a venture capital arm, AgriVentures Partners, investing in the future of food and agriculture. And then we said traditional VCs in large corporations and public funding. I mean, at least in Spain, a number of public institutions provide a lot of funding to startups at concessional rates. Among these are Enisa and Fedeti, for example. So I really think there's money, but you have to look for it and have a great project so it can be financed for one of these three sources.
Yep. Great. Thank you all for your inputs and your excellent insights. I wish the conversation could keep going on, and I hope it's been inspirational to those watching us. I'm a big proponent of the public-private partnerships, just for the record, the PPPs. I think there's a big business to be done there, and to include smaller startups and scale-ups, as they're being called for this event. So on that note, Patricia, we will pass the floor back to you to find out who has won some of these famous awards.
Thank you so much, Stuart, for moderating this interesting session, and to all the speakers for the insights. Yes, I hope you are all excited because the moment has come to announce the winners of the InnoWise Scale Agriculture Competition. And as we mentioned earlier, the winners of the competition will be granted with first prize 12,000 euros, second prize 12,000 euros in equity-free cash to be used for scaling up their business. And moreover, there will be a special prize of 30,000 euros for testing purposes. This prize will be granted by the solution provider that better addresses the problem holder challenge, which is Sanluca. So while we bring back all the startups of the competition, 8 organizations that are competing today, I would like to welcome Andreas Chrysantou. He's a project manager at the Agriculture Chambers of Cyprus, and he will be the representative of the jury presenting the winners today. Hello, Andreas, welcome back.
Hello, thank you very much. So, we are going to wait for the companies, or shall I start? Can you hear me?
Yes, sorry, Andreas, we can hear you. And
okay.
You can feel free to take the floor. The startups are already here with us, so we are looking forward to hear the winners.
Just a moment, because I have a problem with the sound. Give me a minute, please.
Can you hear us, Andreas?
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. It's all good. You can take the floor whenever you want. All the startups are here.
Sorry, I had a problem with these little things.
No problem.
Okay, so we as a jury we found it really hard to decide which solutions will get the two first prizes. After the evaluation of the solutions and the very interesting discussion we had, we concluded that all the solutions are promising and they have a lot of potential. We are sure that most of them, they are going to succeed in the future. But at the end, we had to decide the winners of this competition. So after a lot of thinking and a lot of discussion, we decided that for the second prize, the winner is Synapis with Mr. Aris. And we think that they presented their solution very well and also explained why they differ from other analytic solutions. And we concluded that they will get the second prize. And for the first prize, we choose a solution that was different than the others. So the winner for the first prize is Secaflor with Mrs. Tatiana. They offer a different solution and a different approach to the problem, with a very good potential to the field. The idea looks very practical and well thought. And yes, we are very happy that we participate in this, and we had the chance to review the solutions, and we are very happy with the result. We are very happy with Secaflor and Synapis.
So, Aris, would you like to speak before, or should I say thank you to everyone?
I'd just like to thank everyone, EIT Food and the jury for their participation, and I'd also like to thank our mentor George Karkatsanis, who brought the economic aspect to our solution that we didn't necessarily have. So I think the mentorship was great. The EIT crew was great, and thank you very much to the jury for your participation. Go ahead, Tatiana.
Thank you to everyone. Thank you to the jury. Thank you to the IT Food team, which is really fantastic. And I would like to say a special thanks to two important elements in this project. Our mentor, Sara Giordani, who has been a real help. This is an example of how helping a company to understand and to grow and to go ahead. Thank you, Sara. And this is the special thanks is to my team. They have worked really, really hard. We have worked all together. We are thinking about the solution, always for improving it. Thank you to the jury for taking all the trust on us. Thank you to everyone. We are really happy, and we go ahead, always ahead. Thank you.
We thank you for your good work, and we thank everybody else that participated.
Thank you, everyone. Congratulations to the winners. And let's give the floor to Fernando Bañón so he can present the award.
Okay, hello everyone again. Okay, so For the special prize, I have to say that it has been very challenging for us. It has been very, very 4-5 months, super intense and interesting. Having meetings with each of the startups and understanding the value proposition. We have been delighted to see so many interesting ideas, so much innovation. And it has been very hard to take a decision. Let's say at the end of these last weeks, we were having two companies in mind that adjusted the best to our challenge. I have to say that the parameters that we have used in order to take the final decision, first of them was to have a holistic solution that provided a hardware but also a software in order to understand what is the behavior of the water in our orchards. Another parameter that has been very much
Hello, I think we have lost Fernando. I don't know if he has had any internet issues, but unfortunately he has been out. But in any case, I don't know if Carmen Galindo from EIT Food is available, so maybe she can take the floor and give some final remarks and also make the announcement instead of Fernando if he cannot join in the next few minutes.
Hello. Yes, we can give him a little bit the space. In the meantime, I would like to do a few remarks and again to give the thank you to all the people that have been participating in the program and collaborating with us. So to the mentors, as I've mentioned at the beginning, and as Tatiana mentioned, they have been doing a great job and working hand in hand with the solution providers. We really hope that this collaboration and this exchange of knowledge brings them to a next level or open new opportunities. So thank you again for all the mentors, but also to the speakers. The sessions have been very interesting and very aligned with what we are looking to do in the InnoWise. So thank you for collaborating with us and to participate in the session. And I want to give a very special thank you to Biazul, who are our partners and also co-organizers of the events in the shadows, for bringing and putting together all this agenda together. It was challenging, and I think it was of a lot of interest to everyone. And a little bit of a reminder, like you can stay tuned for future activities, as we will be having the Water Academies happening soon, the 27th of October on water management in agriculture, and the 2nd and the 3rd of November for other sectors. So please stay tuned, and also we will be back. We will be back with more news and the results of what the body of knowledge is working. I see Fernando is not back, so he is having connection issues. So I will be doing the announcement instead of him. He has very much nicer words to say that. He was, as far as I know, he was working on, he was explaining how difficult it was for him to do this selection. I'm aware of that. He's been talking to all of you. He has been studying all the possibilities, and finally he has made the decision based on what is more relevant for this stage, this moment for Sanluca. And there you go. The winner of the special prize, is agroanalytics. So I hope you can bring them stage. Yes. Congratulations, Antonella. I was faster, Fernando. I'm sorry. I leave you the floor now.
I'm very sorry. I don't know where it broke up. I really don't know where it broke up.
You were saying how interesting was it, all the solutions, and how challenging was for you to make up your mind. And I did the closing remarks, and now you are here on stage with Antonella, so you can tell her directly.
Okay, Antonella, very congratulations for this award. I'm very sorry I had a problem with the connection, don't know why. I was just saying how difficult it has been.
Okay, so Fernanda is not here. You can. It's your turn, Antonella. You can tell us congratulations.
Thank you so much. We are very happy, and thanks for the opportunity to be here. And thanks, Fernando, to choose us as the solution for the problem holder. And we want to give a special mention to our mentor, Jose Antonio. He has been helping in every step, and it would have been possible with him. So thank you so much for all the support this month, and we are very happy. So we have a great team, and we have a very good support here in the program and with our mentor, and thanks to Fernando too.
Okay, thank you very much, Antonella. Congratulations to all. And Patricia,
thank you, Carmen, and congratulations, Antonella. Fantastic prize. It's been a pleasure from our side at Revolve to facilitate this event today. A fantastic lineup, great speakers, and it's been a wonderful collaboration as well with the EIT Food team. So thank you to everyone. Thank you to the startups that have been collaborating very closely with us as well, and the speakers and the members of the jury as well for making this a lively and interesting as well a Q&A with the startups. So I'm very happy. I hope that you enjoyed today's session. If you have not been able to join the full event, you can watch it on our YouTube channel, so it's there. And we can also share it with all the registered participants so you can watch it when you have more time. But thank you. Have a good day, and I hope that we can see you next time as well. All the best.